Ready? Ooh. Welcome to EDI2 Stream 8. My name is Robbie Rackleff. I'm the host of EDI2 here on twitch.tv/EDI. The host here on twitch.tv/EDI_2, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to speak to you here tonight on the 8th. It is the 8th stream for this brand new EDI2. Allan is in the EDI headquarters with me. How are you feeling, Allan? And what's the good news from where's the good news, Allan?
The good news is I'm happy to be here with Robbie. And I just want to sincerely thank you for all the wonderful inspiration you've given me over the years. And I care so much about you, and I care so much about EGI and the EGI2 family. I just feel very blessed to be with you. So back to you, Robbie, and thank you.
Back to you, Allan, and thank you. And thank you to everybody here that has joined us here this evening. I figured tonight we'll start off with a short prayer. Allan, if you would be so kind as to bow your head in supplication to the Almighty.
Okay.
And here we go. If everyone, this is going to be primarily when I say the Almighty, I do. This is a secular prayer for the secular Almighty. But
okay,
here we go.
Wait, Robbie.
Robbie,
what religion? You gave me a religion. I forget what it was.
Zoroastrianism.
Okay, so I'll be doing that.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. If everybody out there in EGI2 into the chat will bow their heads.
Bow your head.
In supplication to the Almighty, we'll get started with a short prayer. And when I do say Lord, I will be saying Lord several times. I will. Okay. That's not an official determination. It's just I couldn't think of a better word, and Almighty has too many vowels in it. Not vowels. What's the other one?
Consonants.
Syllables.
Shoot.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day and all of its. You don't have to repeat what I'm saying. Does everyone?
Sometimes you do want me to repeat.
I will tell you when I need you to repeat what I'm saying. Okay.
I don't understand.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day and all of its challenges and opportunities. And thank you for bringing us all here this evening to enjoy the company and fellowship that twitch.tv/EGI_2 provides. I have so many good hopes for this evening. We do have funny video game news and the 2004 Game of the Year Awards. And if I want to, and it is my hope that people here and out there appreciate the work that goes into the show, even if the show hits some rough patches. I beg in advance for the forgiveness of the people out, for the people and the people who watch it. Amen. And hopefully, if people like what they're seeing tonight, then they will bring others, and their fellowship will grow, and our community will prosper, and the vitality of the group will prosper, and the growth of the group will it'll be determined to be furthered.
Amen.
Thank you, Allan.
Amen. Thank you, Robbie. That did nourish me spiritually. I do feel quite spiritually nourished. And inspired. I feel a light in my heart that I will take on with me through the rest of this episode and out into the world, even after the episode ends.
Oh, I forgot something. Everybody bow your heads again.
Back to you.
Back to you, Allan. Back to you, God, Lord. We will, one last thing, and this is actually not to you, but to actually those, wait, hold on. So I don't need to, wait. So this is a prayer. I'm going to pray. We're praying for the chat.
You're praying for the okay, and I just want to say, when you say Lord, I picture you. Okay. Back to you, Lord.
Well, don't picture anything. If anything, picture sort of a great hand, a great large hand.
Maybe I should picture the Zoroastrianism, a hand cupping cold rainwater.
A cupped hand that and the water is the water pours through the hand and through the fingers.
And I'll drink that.
Okay.
I'll drink to that.
So what was it? Oh, all right.
You're praying for the
Lord, please help us to remind those who are here this evening and who may come later in the evening that we always that we want to be better people, that
Yes,
the world has too many bad people, and that
Yes.
the purpose and the ministry
Go
that
off.
we deign to accomplish is the one that creates a wealth of good people
Yes,
who are
Lord.
going out into the world and seeing it with kind eyes,
Yes, my Lord.
seeing the and looking for ways to look at other people in the eyes
I hear you,
and
my
say
Lord.
and finding the people that are looking at the people's eye, the people that there's the people that are having the eyes
Yeah.
on the people that don't know.
I can hear you.
Got it. Will be such that they will see the other and find ways to say that try to find ways to bring that person closer and to find value and care and empathy for those people that we don't know yet. So amen to that.
Amen. Amen to that, brother.
And let's get started, Allan. First, let's check in with Allan. Allan here on the street. EGI2's correspondent, Allan Resnick. Allan Resnick.
Hey, Robbie.
What are you looking for this evening? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to being with you and feeling the light in your heart drift out of your heart as some sort of a light orb that floats over from your shot, the primary shot number 1, over to shot number 2, which is my shot, and me absorbing the Lord. I don't know if we can get some sort of an animation of that. That would be quite cool. And I'm looking forward to funny game news. I'm looking forward to another segment where you do a Game of the Year award, even though I think you did that already a couple times.
I did the 2000. We have done the 2004 Game of the Year awards once before, but there was a reason. There was more awards to give, and so we have decided to reopen that chest and to find and look inside the chest and see all of the different little baubles and ribbons and things like that decorate the EGI2 Game of the Year awards for 2004.
So I'm looking forward to finding the ribbon and touching the ribbon and just feeling the way that ribbon. The thrill of feeling the ribbon is quite exciting to me. So I'm having a blast here, and I'm worshiping the EGI2 family, and back to you, Robbie, my Lord.
Back to you, Allan, and also I want to point out, Allan, we do have this is breaking news. We do have EGI2 breaking news, which is that Allan does have a brand new Stream Deck XL. Go ahead and show that off,
Okay.
Allan. If you could show off your Stream Deck XL to the
Here
folks.
it is.
We've got all
Look at all
sorts
those buttons, and let's
lots
just.
of buttons. There's and what are some of the buttons?
This
Some of the
one-
new buttons that we have.
Okay, we
Allan?
have a lot of new buttons here. This is so exciting for me to have access to all of these. But this first button says cute hee hee. Cute hee hee. This one says big male celebration. Okay?
Big mail.
Big male celebration, because I think the voice is kind of like a big guy would say that. Right? Yeah, a man.
A man.
A big man would say.
What is a man? What is a man?
What are you trying to get into?
A miserable. Wait, I got it. Hold on. What is a man? He says, and he smashes the glass. A miserable, viper's nest of secrets? Is it a miserable little pile of secrets? Thank you, Fruity Spruce, in the chat from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets.
Thank you to whoever in the
thank you
chat
for-
saved us from that, whatever Robbie was getting into there.
Razor-haired Baby says this is not a story. This is just the introduction to the show.
This is
We don't have what we need for a story yet, so there is no story.
no story yet. If we get what we need for a story, Robbie will do a new story. So I'm just going to keep going through these buttons here. This one says level complete. I'm going to hit that right now.
Excellent. I love that.
That feels a little bit like a breaking news sound.
So it could be a breaking news sound, but also it could be. Oh wow! So if we could hit breaking news and that at the same time. Let's see. Let's start. 3, 2, 1, go. Oops. Okay. 3, 2.
There's like a delay on it. Let's go back to the.
Okay.
Allan
Let's
shot.
try it again. Okay.
Okay.
3. Wait. On 3.
Okay.
I mean on 1.
On 1, right?
So 3, 2, 1.
That was okay.
Okay, that was fine.
Okay.
We'll come back to that, and we'll communicate a little bit better. But honestly, we love multiple sounds on top of here. At EGI2 /0666 says this, and we have to agree. So
I love this.
Love this. We've got the EGI2
Thank you.
has as the show has grown, as the family has prospered.
Yep.
Then we have also been able to add new tools and new elements to the EGI2 stream programs, and we can't do that without the support of the EGI2 family. And I just want to just feeling a lot of gratefulness today, and gratefulness and gratitude, and of course a lot of excitement because we have some funny video game news to get into. So let's get into funny video game news right now.
Did you hear I hit the button? You heard the laugh?
Can we make sure that the funny video game news slideshow is back at the beginning? Thank you so much. Great.
I'm having fun
So
with
let's
these.
prepare ourselves. If everybody out there in the chat can prepare yourself for the world of funny. We're now entering the world of funny video game news, Allan.
Here, I'm gonna do the hee-hee. That's fun.
Well, I want to make sure you're not so focused on the soundboard that you can also enjoy the funny video game news.
I can hear you.
So let's try that again. The funny video game news starts. Wait. Funny video game news starts now. Funny video game news, Allan, starts now. I'm already laughing, Allan.
Me too. I'm laughing. You're so funny.
Okay, so funny video game news starts now. Let's.
It's one of my favorite segments.
It's one of the best segments that we've got. We've got a number of segments here tonight, but funny video game news is nothing if not one of them. Let's start with the funny video game news. Fracture is in funny video game news. Fracture, of course, the game published the oft-maligned third-person shooter from LucasArts.
Was it maligned?
It was maligned because, and I think that the funny video game news is going to be about why it was maligned, but it was maligned for a number of reasons. But the funny video game news in this specific case, the funny video game news in this specific case, what is that word?
Specific.
The word, sometimes it's just the words that you need to bridge things just kind of drop off in the old memory socket there. The funny video game news regarding Fracture is a result of none other than funny video game news funny video game news regular Michelle Bachelet of the UN High Commissioner of Human Rights, who says that Fracture there isn't enough terraforming in Fracture to keep it from feeling like it's just another Gears clone, and of course Gears meaning Gears of War, Allan.
Right, that's true.
So a lot of third-person shooters from that same time period, tried to take what Gears of War had done and either try to catch a little bit of that fire that was being blasted out as a result of the Gears of War series, and Fracture was one of those games that tried to take some of the fire and then put it into the ground. Well, it put it into the weapons for Fracture. So there was a weapon that you could use, and also grenades, I believe, guns and grenades, where you could sort of terraform, where the ground could be raised up or kind of dipped in.
I didn't know that.
And Michelle Bachelet, the UN Commissioner for Human Rights, who was also, this is great. This is no one else is talking about this, but she was also the former president of Chile.
I did not. She was, and now she works for the UN.
And now she works for the UN. So,
but was she talking about Fracture?
She was talking about Fracture because, of course, in Chile, with all of the different levels of elevation in Chile, I'm imagining, and this is pure speculation, that Michelle Bachelet would have seen a game where you could run around and terraform and create slopes and holes and dips and little ramps. And maybe she would say, well, what a great way we could explore the possible development of some of the communities in the Andes mountain range that have not been able to keep up with the rest of the development, our bigger coastal cities in Chile, Santiago, and the other one.
I get it.
Yeah, so you can imagine that she was a little bit disappointed when all of her plans went up in smoke because, in fact, the amount of actual terraforming that you would do in Fracture
Oh shit!
that she was looking for inspiration was not adequate for what she had hoped.
That's so funny.
I don't think that she believed, Allan, that the guns were real.
She doesn't believe in guns.
No, she doesn't believe. I don't believe that she thinks that the guns in Fracture were real guns.
Well, they're not.
But it's sort of, I believe.
What do you mean though? They're not. They're games.
Because when you're from a place, Allan, you just want to make sure. When you're from a place, you'd like to see everyone. You'd like everyone to be raised up. You'd like if there's wealth, you want the wealth to be spread around with some level of equity. If you're Michelle Bachelet,
is that what she? Some people don't want that.
Well, she rewrote the Constitution. I think. The Chilean Constitution.
And what was it about? She had something about fake guns versus
Well, no,
real
I'm
guns?
saying that she was like, well, I'm thinking. So she sees the trailer for Fracture.
She didn't play the game. She just saw the trailer.
No, she definitely played the game. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the funny. She wouldn't have to be in the funny video game.
Oh, now I get it.
So she played the video game.
Oh my god,
and then
Robbie, you should have just said that. That's so funny.
So she played the video game possibly for the first time, and thought to herself, She sat down. She said, "This is going to give me a lot of ideas for how to raise up the standards of living for folks living in these villages and townships up there on the higher elevations of our country. It's a large country. So that you've got these big coastal cities, and then you have some of the smaller towns up in the mountains that don't get the same, that don't aren't feeling the same level of wealth creation that you might see in some place like Santiago."
That is funny.
So that's
When you-
and that's from the video game news.
Wait. I'm gonna do it too.
All right. No, that's
And now we'll do the male celebration because I like the male male celebration, the big man. I like that better.
So next up on funny video game news, Chasm the Rift is in the news today, Allan. Chasm the
Robbie,
Rift,
you've got my attention. You've already got my attention.
The classic first-person shooter that looks like it's a Quake clone, but actually has quite a bit of Quake difference. Wait, looks like a Quake clone, but has a bit of a Quake.
It looks
has a little bit of a Quake lift. And Chasm the Rift is in funny video game news because none other than King of Denmark Frederick X, the recently installed monarch of the constitutional monarchy of Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark, believes that Chasm the Rift is worth a look because of the dismemberment effect that was sort of new to those early Quake era. I mean, Quake era. Let's not split hairs here. There were games that looked like Quake and played similarly to Quake, but what set Chasm the Rift apart, I think, was partially the chainsaw. Was the dismemberment effect that you could use to chop off limbs, and then of course the chainsaw launching gun in Chasm the Rift, and now so he said. So he said that to get people's attention and to. As the newly installed king, his mother, of course, abdicated around Christmas time, and she's, you have to do something. You have to do something to set yourself apart from the previous monarchs. And so one of his first acts as king of Denmark was to bring up Chasm the Rift and remind people that it's worth taking. If you're a fan of these boomer shooters, then Chasm the Rift has just been remastered and remade. It's up on Steam and the eShop.
He's trying to prove himself.
He's trying to prove.
Mother, I want to tell you about Chasm in the Rift.
Well,
you can dismember.
You
can dismember the bodies. And Mother, I'm the king. Is he the king?
He's the king now.
I'm the king now, and you can.
I don't know what or she won. What is so? I know that there's a queen. There used to be a queen mother.
Mother was queen.
So no. Mother. Sometimes mother was
there was
queen,
a queen.
But sometimes mother was queen.
Mother,
Mommy wasn't always queen. Sometimes she was.
Well, Daddy was king.
Daddy was king.
And then
normally,
something happened.
So the king, but sometimes he was the king. He was the queen's consort.
So he would consort.
Yes.
Who was? The son was
the son was not the. Oh, we would have I think there would be a big issue if the son was the queen's consort. But Cody Fancy Pants says sometimes baby is king, and it's true. Sometimes baby is king. But sometimes mommy is king, and sometimes daddy is king.
Mommy is queen, Robbie.
Mommy is queen. And sometimes a king comes from elsewheres. Thinking, of course, of the earlier period there.
And remember what happened to Lady Di?
1700s, 1600s.
Robbie, do you remember what happened to Lady Di?
Yes, I do.
That was
a terrible tragedy. But that mommy was never going to be queen, unfortunately. So the funny video game news is that King of Denmark, Frederick X, trying to get all the people of Denmark to take another look, and people not only of Denmark but of all across the EU and all across the greater West. You might find that the constitutional monarchies are sort of an anachronism, but in Denmark at least they've put that to use in the only way that they know possible, which was to remind people about Chasm the Rift. There's other things that we could talk about with Chasm the Rift.
Well, I am enjoying the dismemberment conversation, and I do think that is funny.
Cuts out chainsaw launcher, arms, legs, heads, popped off, saws flying around.
That's funny.
I don't know if they got to the point where they could bounce the saws like you see in the
like
Half-Life.
You'd ricochet them off a wall. You mean?
Ravenholm.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
Yeah. Ravenholm. You could shoot those blades. Chainsaw blade. Ravenholm.
Anyway, so that's funny video game news. Glad to see it. Glad to have that we're all having a great time laughing about all the funny video game news there is across the world, and let's continue forward. So
great.
Next up in some funny video game news, Quantum Theory. Speaking of Gears of War clones, Quantum Theory is in the funny video game news today, and you're never, Allan. I think can you guess why? Quantum Theory, the Japanese developed Gears of War clone from none other than Tecmo.
Tecmo, yes, I was.
Of course, Tecmo, the people behind.
Let's say it at the same time.
Ninja Gaiden. The Ninja Gaiden. No, not all the people. Mr. Itagaki, I don't think was involved in Quantum Theory, but Quantum Theory is in the funny video game news for one reason and one reason only.
Here we go.
Are you willing to guess? Take what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
What's good for the goose? Is that a hint about this?
No, it's just I'm saying because if you can guess it, then what's good for your guess? If you guess, then what you guess is good for you and for the gander, which I'm guessing in this case is the chat.
But if I guess correctly, the joke about this game, Quantum Theory,
right?
It's good for the
Japanese developed Gears of War style third-person shooter from Tecmo.
If I guess what's funny about this, it's good for the goose, good for the chat,
right?
And for me,
correct.
My guess.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Okay, my guess is that.
I mean, take a look at this game, Allan. Have you ever seen anything quite like it?
No, I haven't.
Well, you've seen Gears of War, haven't you?
Oh, so yes,
so
I have seen things something sort of like this, Gears of War
or Fracture.
Okay.
Or what was the other one? Where you spun everything around.
There's a spin.
Inversion. Chat, is Inversion the one I'm thinking of? The other Gears of War third-person shooter game where you spin the whole world around. In Fracture, you could you made little dips and holes and moles and pits, but Inversion, I believe, you could just nothing was off limits in Inversion.
Who's that guy? Oh, okay. So what's funny about this is probably maybe Nancy Mace was thinking about this, and maybe Nancy Mace had some sort of issue with the cover system.
Possible future vice presidential candidate Nancy Mace. Did she make it into the funny video game news this evening, folks? Unfortunately not. It's U.S. Senator Tim Scott, another vice president, potential vice president. Nominee.
Wow.
He says, and Tim Scott, of course, the man who smiles.
Happy man.
The happy warrior, Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina says, "Hey, me, it's Tim Scott asking if we can't get some news on a possible sequel to Quantum Theory. Thanks."
Hey, that is funny.
That is funny. That's funny video game news, folks. And of course, if you're a happy warrior like Tim Scott, then you probably found a way to enjoy what is ultimately, I think, people would be.
I need more buttons. I want more buttons.
People would say is a full. It's pretty derivative. Doesn't do a lot besides maybe sort of add a bit of the cultural flair that comes when you've got a Tecmo-developed third-person shooter. But other than that, Senator Tim Scott, you have our respect for clearing the way for people that were doing better in the polls than you.
I salute you and congratulations on the marriage. He is recently a married man.
He's recently married.
He was recently married. He actually just got married just in time to run for office.
Run for
president, but he lost.
Right.
But so he did get married.
Oh.
So congratulations to Tim Scott.
So maybe
good luck.
If you're at Tecmo Studios, if you're in somewhere in the Tecmo ecosystem, then perhaps you could add a cooperative mode.
You could play with your wife.
So in the original Quantum Theory, I do, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, Alan.
Of course I will.
You're the Quantum Theory expert in the room.
I tried. Yes.
That you tossed your companion.
In
Quantum Theory,
you tossed her. You tossed
her. A woman ran beside you,
and
occasionally you would need her to
reach a ledge,
reach something like a ledge or button, or maybe cross a chasm. Chasm the rift, notwithstanding.
Got it.
That's funny video. Chasm the rift, notwithstanding. That you would need to toss the woman, and she would get across, and then sometimes, and she had her own little running animation, and she was bright.
What do you mean bright?
You were
bright or like
and you were rather and her personality was sort of bright and hopeful.
Oh, she had a bright personality.
Your main character's personality was a bit bleak and ground down by the
That's a little like you and I, Robbie. And I would like if you had lost something up on a roof, like a ball, you were playing ball and the ball bounced up onto a roof. You could toss me up there and I could get it, and I'd brightly do that and drop it down to you, and you'd be a little gloomy and glower.
Absolutely, and that actually reminds me of Quantum Theory's one of Quantum Theory's cousins. I think you'll find is the ball.
Quantum Theory's cousin, the
right?
Ball.
So, and I don't know if it's an official cousin, but all these Gears of War clones. One of the things that was they all looked like they were being built on the same Unreal 3 engine.
Well, it was an engine, so many games were probably built on it. So they would have that certain DNA. They would share that sort of aesthetic DNA. There's certain shading quality to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet some of those Gears of War mechanics were kind of easy to, apply to other games. You'd get the cover system, and you'd kind of just put your character in there, and they'd have a similar asset lighting, and so it makes sense that you'd call them cousins. So I do understand you.
So, but also they went a little bit further in some cases where they had very similar looking assets, but then they would make first-person shooters like The Ball.
The Ball,
to which you referred.
The Ball. Yes, I was referring to like a basketball or a football. I could imagine Robbie just having a fun play. Maybe we were playing catch together, like a father-child situation. I'd be the child, and you would toss me the ball, but you're so strong and big, the ball would kind of bounce a couple times, boom, 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 and land on top of the house that we shared. We share a house in this scenario, but even though you're tall and you can jump super, super high, I could imagine the house is so big that you'd be like, I actually can't get up there. And I'd say, I'll help you, Daddy, and you toss me, and I'd be up on, and I'd have such a bright personality. I'd be up there, and
Moby190 has a gifted 5 subs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moby190, and back to The Ball.
Thank you so much.
Let's continue on with our coverage of The Ball, the independently developed Unreal Engine 3 classic game where you knock the ball around and the ball goes into little holes.
That sounds fun.
And sometimes you have to knock the ball up on a ledge and it goes up into a hole there.
So that's very similar to the scenario I was painting, and I think we were talking about the same thing. Just a ball that bounces and gets up somewhere high you can't get it, or falls in a hole.
That's funny.
Yay! Now, if
on
we
to
do
the
get
funny video.
hype train going, Robbie will tell a story.
Yeah, funny video game news continues with Denmark Quantum Theory, Tim Scott, and of course, next up was Pal World. And this is the game that people have been wanting to see a lot of coverage of. It's always in the news. People are loving.
People love Pal
World. Love Pal World.
And tell everyone else on Twitch that we're talking about Pal World.
So we are talking about Pal World. If we get a hashtag Pal World, bump. If we get a
do Pal World in the chat. Do Pal World.
So that's what Pal World is.
Spam the chat with the word Pal World.
People are talking about it. People are loving Pal World.
People love Pal World. I would love to play a game like that.
They say that apart from some issues of derivativeness, or borrowed elements, that Pal World has done what it needs to do to set itself apart from the other games called Pal World is in funny video game news for one reason and one real only. And Alan, I think that you're going to really enjoy this because you are, of course, so keyed into not only the Pal World situation but also news across the worlds, and it is now Digimon. Says Michael, UK Minister for Leveling Up Housing and Communities, Michael Gove.
How did you do that? How did you come up with that?
So Michael Gove, of course, the former current UK Minister for Leveling Up Housing and Communities, Michael Gove, also, of course, one of the architects of Brexit. And,
why did he do that?
The former UK Minister for Education under I believe, David Cameron and Boris Johnson. So he made it. He made it out. He was kicked. He was punted out of the government and then made it back in. Just in time to take a look at Power World and say Digimon.
That is funny. It's a little extreme for my taste, my political taste, but in terms of funny video game news, that's hilarious.
Funny video game news. And that's how we do it. We try to have a good time. We try to literally knock people on the ground with the hard fist of news.
Yes, I am laughing.
And funny video game news continues with guess what? More Pal World news.
Breaking news.
No one else is talking about Pal World. A lot of people are talking about Pal World.
Some people are talking about it.
But I promise you, no one is giving you the funny video game news that we have here on EGI2, twitch.tv/EGI2.
Spam Pal World. Just say Pal World over and over again. Just say Pal World, Pal World, Pal World. In the chat as fast as you can. Pal World, Pal World. I think the algorithm will pick up on that, and we'll get a little of that. We'll get a little of the afterglow of the Pal World craze.
We'll get the goose. What's good for the goose is good for the what's good for the Pal World is good for the goose, which is good for the gander.
We're trying to goose the numbers of EGI2
because it's been a big failure. The choice to get into this. To join us at the stream, and so what we can provide a fresh perspective and
I think we have a level 1.
We have a level. I'm sorry.
Is that
breaking news? This just in. Breaking news. We might have a hype train coming in any moment now. So we have to get in. We'll have to take a break from the funny video game news to start the stories.
Is it a hype train, or is it said?
I thought it said a hype train. Is there a hype train?
Is there a hype train?
I don't see any hype train graphics.
Oh wait, there is a hype train.
Okay,
we have 4 minutes 30 seconds. It's just not on the.
Now,
I'll keep you posted.
Hype! I'm hyped to tell you the story, Alan. We're already at level 2.
Wow!
Thank goodness for all the people who want to hear the stories, because we do have a wonderful story here tonight, and this is just in. It's the story of the night of the week. It was a week or a month.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
The time that the sky over Paris was bleeding. So the time over Paris, of course, you remember Paris, the classic city over there in France. Had gone through many wars previous, and it was about to go through more. There was a sort of interwar period right before World War I, which of course no one liked. And the Crimean War period, which was also a big mess. So there was all the technology was coming together, and people felt like the rationalization of the 20th century was nigh, and Paris was a light. It was a light with thought and reason and discussion and politics and humanity. And so the people in Paris were never expecting for the sky to bleed.
No, I would be shocked to find the sky bleeding.
The sky bled in Paris in this story.
But
Robbie! That's just the end of the story. That's
Level.
part
We
of
hit the
end
next
of the
level.
story.
Robbie,
Because,
the
of
hype
course,
train is continuing.
the
We're hitting level 3 hype train. The story continues. You have 5 or 4 minutes to finish the story.
Of course, but you can't. Every story has an ending, but every story has a beginning. And the beginning of the story
We're just at the beginning.
starts with a little girl named Samantha.
That's very cute.
So Samantha was a little Parisian girl. She lived in one of those angular apartments that she would bump her head. She would get up in the middle of the night to go use the chamber pot, and she would bump her head.
Ow.
And and she would be so tired. She was a tired young girl. She was a tired little girl named Samantha. And she would bump her head, and she would just lean the head on the angled wall and just sort of slide across the ceiling, because the wall was the ceiling because of the pointedness. She was up on the top floor.
It was like an A-frame.
Yes, it was like an A-frame.
Oh, so her head would slide in.
Well, you know these classic Paris apartments. They're not quite A-frames.
I've never been.
Straight up and then down, more like a triangle, but up, like a quadrilateral. It was a quadrilateral. And Samantha was, of course, working all the time. She was tired because she always worked in bakery, bringing hot bread to all of the markets across the great city of lights, Paris, France, in the period after the Crimean War, but before World War I.
So you've set the stage, and get to this. You have 3
Samantha,
minutes and 30 seconds to tell the
Samantha
story.
one day was on her way to the market, stopped at, of course, a church. And the church was one of these classic Paris churches with lots of statues and gargoyles. And there was a priest outside, and he was kind of leaning in the way that we think of as Samantha would lean when she would rest her head on the wall to slide over to the chamber pot to use the bathroom. And when I talk about Samantha using the bathroom, I just want to say that when I say she was a girl, she was well over the age of 18. We just used the term girl because we don't feel like she quite had become a woman yet. And what I mean by that is to say that she hadn't figured out what the tax forms do. She hadn't set up her own landline. So there was a lot of things. There was a lot. She was still in many ways the body of an adult woman, but the heart of a child. And so we'll continue to call Samantha a
girl.
And
how old? How old? Just so I can clarify the image in my mind.
I would say between the ages of 18 and 25.
So it's not a crime to think about her using the chamber pot, but it is.
You don't want to think about her using the chamber pot at all, because if you think about that, then you've got that sends you down a type of a mind that we support.
But it's not a crime to think about it, and it's part of the story. So back to you, Robbie. 2 minutes to complete this hype train. We're not doing good.
But is that she probably would not have assumed. She probably would not have seen the chamber. She probably would not have seen the priest and thought anything of it had she not had that experience with her head leaning on the wall when she would go to use the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Got it. Thank
you.
So
the priest. So she said, "Excuse me, Father," because of course.
Not her real father.
Not a real father, but of
1
course,
minute and 40 seconds.
Sort of the Catholic. She was a papist, so she of course had she referred to priests as father, but if she ever met like a Calvinist, who knows what she would call it, parson or what's the other one? Parson or reverend. And she said, "Excuse me, Father.
Robbie! Oh my God!
Oh boy! We just got 5 gift
Thank you so much,
Tugboat Commander.
Thank you, Tugboat Commander. Oh my God!
That we've got Tugboat.
5 or 4 more minutes to continue the story. If we get to the next level, the story will continue. But if not, we're gonna have to wrap up the story and fanfare button. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Allan.
Back to the story.
Back to you, story. The story continues. Samantha saw the priest, and she says to the priest, "Father, I see you leaning. Do you need to go?" He's an old man, so do you need me to help you get to the chamber pot?
Got it.
So, and the priest says, "No, I'm leaning up because I'm so damn tired because all of these gargoyles and statues all over our beautiful church, cathedral, really." Small cathedral. I mean, I can't remember if it's the size that makes a church a cathedral, but the beautiful church has all of these statues have been coming awake at night,
just like Toy Story,
and rampaging around, knocking on people's doors, keeping me up at night,
they don't do
grabbing
that in Toy
people
Story.
out of their beds, bringing them to church. When they don't, when it's not necessary that they come, we do support, of course, as many people coming to church when appropriate. But sometimes we just need time to rest, and the church needs to be cleaned and dusted, and we want to make sure that when people come to church on Sunday, that everything is top spec.
Right. There's a time and a place to go to church, and they don't want it to be a scary experience where you're being dragged there by a gargoyle.
Exactly. And the
This is not like Toy Story.
And here's and this is the kicker, Alan, and this is what people forget about this story, and this is why people really are gonna learn something from this, because
this is a good story.
The angels statues and the saints and the Virgin Marys and what have you, they were pulling people into church. But the gargoyles were pulling them into the crypts.
Oh, so the good statues were bringing them to church in a good way, and the scary statues were bringing them to a scary place.
Right, exactly. But I think that you and I have played enough of games, El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron, whatnot, that we know that a lot of times these things, Darksiders, a lot of times these things are not so clear cut.
No.
But in this case it was. They were good. The good guys were the angels and the bad guys were the gargoyles. So no gray area there. Don't worry about it.
This is so interesting. It's more like Night at the Museum.
A little bit too much like Night at the Museum, in that one of the statues was Teddy Roosevelt, who had not been born yet.
But they had a statue of him.
It was exactly. He looked just like our classic American president, the big TR himself. Everybody was confused about this one statue. They didn't know who he was. Unfortunately,
2 minutes and 16 seconds to complete the hype train. We're only at 14%, and I really want to know how Teddy Roosevelt got into a story when he wasn't even around yet.
He hadn't been born. He
wasn't even born.
Most of his parents were definitely alive back then. I mean, this was in that period between the Crimean War era, which I think pitted the French and the Brits against the Russians. Is that correct?
2 minutes to hear more.
I know everybody was trying to help the Turks at that time. Everyone was worried about the Turks. Everyone was worried that the Turks would fall and the Ruskies would take over and take over that whole swath and control the ports of Constantinople.
But I need to know what happens with these living statues, and why was there a Teddy Roosevelt statue?
So the priest is tired, and Samantha's tired too. Everybody's got their problems. Samantha's tired because she's always carrying hot bread around, which just cooks her in those hot Paris days. If you've ever been to the City of Lights, there's a lot of reflective stone. So if it's 70, 80 degrees out, it feels like it's 90, 95 degrees, and it's dry. And it doesn't matter how many rivers you have in Paris.
Tell the story. You have 1 minute.
All that stone, all that brightness, all that.
You might need to wrap it up. 1 minute. So I don't know if we're going to get to the next level.
Samantha and the priest go inside, and Samantha sits the priest down and says, "We're all tired, but I think you might be crazy. I can't believe that at night these statues, these gargoyles, yes, got it.
Wow!
So we continue on with the story.
Level complete, Robbie.
So Samantha to the priest says, "I don't believe you. I think you're nuts. I think your head's gonna roll off because all the
hype train."
And says, and she leaves with her hot breads, and she goes to the market and goes home in the middle goes about her day. She doesn't think about the priest again. That night, however, she hears a tap 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 on her window, and she's on the top floor. So she knows that if something's tapping at her window, then it's got to be something that got up there.
A bird.
And could be a bird, could be a man that uses dirigibles.
A dirigible.
Dirigibles were just starting to be a thing there. She was like, oh, it could be one of those dirigible.
It could be the dirigible outside my window.
Balloon
tap,
man.
tap, tap.
They did have the balloons, of course, the hot air balloons that they used for spotting in Crimea and the Civil War and whatnot.
But it would still be surprising to see that by your window.
Comes and Samantha says, I shouldn't open that because I think that if I open it, I might not make it to the chamber pot tonight.
She had to go.
She had to go.
I've been there because I have a lot of fiber in my diet, so sometimes I will have that experience.
Well, it wasn't. Well, we don't have the detail, or we don't have the historical detail to know if it was a level 1 or a level 2 situation. But
I see.
We do know that when she woke up to the tapping, that there was also an issue with her needing to go have a sit and just let herself relax, but not tonight because she flew open. She threw caution to the wind, flew open the windows, and there was, of course, the archangel, the regular angel, not the archangel. Wait, the archangel is bad.
I don't. I think the archangel. That sounds scary.
So it's one of the good ones. So not is Gabriel. Gabriel's one of the bad ones, right? Gabriel's one of the good ones. Gabriel. It was none other than Gabriel, who I believe was the one who told you know who about you know who.
Tezzy Roosevelt.
No, Mary about her baby.
Jesus. Wow.
The Messiah.
Oh my God.
That guy.
Jesus
at the window,
Christ.
but made of stone. So maybe not the right one. And before she can say anything, Gabriel, the stone angel,
the good one,
grabs Samantha, pulls her out into the Paris night sky.
Oh my God,
and flies her
Robbie.
down to that church. And the priest is there at the pew, looking extremely tired, worn through. And he says to Samantha, "Hey, and how crazy do I look now?" And she, well, of course, being a bookish type and being a bit quick-witted, which could be why she didn't have a husband at this stage. She says, "You still look this. You might not look crazy, but this looks crazy, and I'm out of here. I'm going back home. I got to use the bathroom."
2 minutes left to hear the rest of this story. We're only at 7% to get to the next level 6 or 7. I don't know how it works, but to the next level, we're 2 minutes.
But before she can get to the front door of the church, one of the other angels grabs her and throws her across the room.
Must have been one of the bad angels.
No, it was one of the good ones.
A good one tossed her.
But she dies. Her body is completely blown apart. I mean, the impact of the thing, I mean, I don't mean to say that like every bone in her body is broken. I mean to say that she has been blown to smithereens.
Oh my God, Robbie!
And there ain't nothing left to
One
put
more
back.
minute.
Humpty
One more
Dumpty
minute to
and
hear
all the
this. This
King's
is
men
crazy.
not
One
gonna
more
put
minute to hear this. This is
Samantha
crazy
back
stuff.
Together again. She has been set apart from the human race by. She's been atomized.
Jesus Christ! So it's a really big, hard throw.
But her soul is still. But her soul is still with us.
Okay.
So her soul sits, and her soul says, "Well, everyone sees this happening. The priest, all the other people that have been dragged out in the middle of the night who didn't try to make a run for it and get smashed."
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Now something amazing is happening. There's only 30 seconds, and we've jumped up to 74% hype train. So we only need a little bit. Okay, I see it moving. We're now at 88%. We have 23 seconds, and this story is getting really good because a woman has exploded and oh my God! Oh my God! Yay! It's happening again! Robbie, the story continues. This is a really fun new thing that happens on EGI2 where we get to hear these stories. I don't want to take the story.
And we now of course have Allan Resnicks. Allan Resnicks soundboard to help to keep the story moving along as we struggle to figure out what exactly has happened here.
Okay, tell the story.
Because
a woman
Samantha's
exploded.
Body has been
a girl. She was a girl. You
yes.
said. You did say that.
She was a. I guess she's technically she's still got the form of a woman, of a regular woman, and she's perfectly normal, regular woman, except for the fact you can kind of see through her.
Okay.
And she has no body,
haunting.
Because the body has been blasted.
Her body, no body, body gone.
No body.
Body blasted away, but we still see her form.
But of course, but we still see her form,
and feminine form, because she's a girl, a woman, and she is. You tell the story. Shoot.
She's a see-through woman. She's still classic woman, classic Parisian, 19th century, end of 19th century, single woman who lives alone, baking bread, except for no hands, no arms, legs. The whole thing is gone. But it just the mirror. It's as if it's a hologram, but with all of the Christian mythology surrounding.
It's a Christian hologram of a woman.
Exactly. So, all right. So Samantha sits down. She goes. It's like one of those classic Woody Allen things, or Judd Apatow kind of moments where they're just like, really, like that kind of thing. You know, where people say like, really.
Who does the really?
I think Woody Allen or Judd Apatow, one or the other. I think they go. She's like, really.
Oh, the ghost said it?
Yeah, the ghost said it.
The ghost is like, gee. Like
no, like, really?
Oh,
because, like, really even Obama used to do it. Remember, every once in a while, he'd be like, really?
Really?
Like, you're not going to pass this bill? Really?
Really? I think you're thinking of Joss Whedon.
People are nuts.
This more sounds like a Joss Whedon kind of thing.
Anyway, Samantha sits down. She says,
Really?
to the priest. He says, "I was warning you that the situation with the angels and the gargoyles
Where's this going?
had gotten pretty bad, and now look at what you found. You found out if you are now in a situation where you are the first person to have been killed by these stone statues, and now you can tell us if the afterlife is real." Because when the statues closed the door, they were not only closing the literal door, but they were also closing the ethereal door that would keep a soul from ascending. He says, "Well, now we can't open the doors again until you figure this whole situation out." So in fact, what Samantha finds herself in is that she's now going to have to be the detective. She's the true detective. True
Detective. That's a
so
big
if
show.
if you're a big fan of that show, then you'll know where this is going, because Samantha
two more
is on
minutes.
the case, and she's got to figure out why the gargoyles and statues are coming alive and why they're doing two different things.
2 more minutes to hear the rest of the story. We're only at 31%. Back to you, Robbie. Finish the story.
Back to you, Allan. The priest's name. What was the priest's name?
I don't think you said a name. You just said a priest. You said father. You called him
father. Father Danger. So Father Danger says that
that's a good name.
We have we enlist you, Samantha of Paris, to be the to journey into the unknown and track down the secrets that of the spirit world that have led us to this point. I bless you, and he crosses himself, and Samantha, out of muscle memory, crosses herself. And
1 more minute to go. One more minute to go. Add a cliffhanger so people want to hear the rest of the story.
Of course,
1 more minute.
And then she floats up into the rafters, and up into near the roof, where she could. Well, she can't completely escape, otherwise she would just be ditching the place. But she's able to stick her head up on the roof, and that's where she sees, you know what?
What?
The gargoyles.
Okay, it's getting interesting
and
again.
The gargoyles are
40
all up
seconds.
there, and they're all smoking cigarettes, and they're being bad, and they're spitting and making and cussing.
Hey, fuck
exactly. They're spitting and they're cussing, and they're being just nasty boys. They're like, they're making they're pointing.
Okay, it's getting good again.
They're like they see the lamplighters walking through.
20 seconds. 20 seconds.
They see the lamplighters.
20 seconds. We need a lot to get to here. So 14, 13, only at 32%. You might have to end it right now. 10.
So, Samantha,
no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. End it. 10, 8. Wait, what is that? Hype train success. That means it's over. So I'm going to hit the sad sound. Damn it.
You kind of threw me off at the end there.
I got so excited because you were talking about all this raunchy stuff with the cigarettes and spitting.
There wasn't any raunchy stuff that was happening.
You said they were spitting.
They were being bad boys.
Well, that's raunchy to me. That's, Let me try this.
Well, maybe we'll come back to that later, but we still have more funny video games.
Oh, good. Yay.
So you're now entering funny video game news continues with Pal World.
Right, Pal World.
And more Pal World, Allan. So Allan,
it's hard to come back. It's hard to go back, shift back to Pal World after I was in Paris for so long. I felt like I was in Paris. The way you described the roof, the chamber, the girl peeing and pissing in the pot.
And it's not.
I just felt like I was there. I just felt like I was in Paris.
This would be like your traditional A-frame roof here. You can see that there. It's sort of an equilateral triangle. Like that?
Yes.
Well, the Paris roof, this is Samantha's roof that we're talking about. That was more like this. Just want to have, so, and then.
Sound off in the chat if you know the name of this kind of triangle.
Then this is the kind, and that's Samantha leaning her head up on the
like
wall
a
there.
Flat side, 90-degree side.
And so this would be all the tiles.
So sound off if you know what kind of a triangle has a 90-degree side and one.
Exactly.
Other side. Right triangle.
Maybe there would be like a little pipe.
A right triangle. Thank you so much, chat. I couldn't see who did it. A bunch of people maybe got
pipe
that.
There. That's a pipe for a stove. So there's.
It is a right-angled triangle, and that's the Paris. So now, but let's go. I want to go back to now. I want to hear more about Pal World because the story's over. The hype train is over. So I don't think we should speak. Nary another word of Paris.
Just want to know that's what Samantha's apartment looked like before she was thrown against a wall by a giant stone angel, Gabriel.
Incredible.
And completely just bashed to nothingness.
Her body
almost nothingness. There was a mist. That's what I forgot to say. we'll get back to that hopefully later on in the show. But funny video game news continues with more funny video game news about, yes, you guessed it, Pow World.
Yay.
Pow World, of course, is the classic
World.
Pokemon style game with crafting and questing and raising and gunning and lots of guns and of course Michael Gove, he's back in the funny video game news saying Monster Rancher. So of course before he said Digimon, and now he's saying Monster Rancher. So Michael Gove, of course, is having a bit of a difficulty with trying to figure out exactly what Pow World is or what it is he's looking at. And he thinks he's seeing all these different other games that also deal with some of the same play mechanics.
Interesting.
And that's funny video. But what's funnier than funny video game news about Michael Gove and Pow World is, of course, more funny video game news involving Pow World.
Another Pow World segment.
And more
Hold on, I want to
video game news. So Michael Gove is looking at this one and saying, he's getting a little bit close. In some ways, he's getting closer. In some ways, he's getting farther away by saying, looking at this slide or looking at this image of Pow World and saying, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Allan.
Because it is like, it's similar to that game in that it's similar to Breath of the Wild.
Because he sees EDI2 is of course sponsored in part by Mini Gaming Desktops, Frame Guide, Bitmap Books, and Copper Wire. So if you are a person who's in charge of Copper Wire or Frame Guide or Mini Gaming Desktops that cost around $800 or Bitmap Books, anything that you could send our way in terms of objects, physical objects that we could then liquidate and turn into greater expansion of our assets here in the stream, then we will be happy to have them in any shape or form. If I'm not correct, Allan.
I'm still thinking about Paris.
What do you think? What do you want to say, Allan?
I don't want to say anything. I just feel it's hard to come back from being in 1 minute. 1 minute ago, I felt I was in Paris, France at this interesting time period that you described, with this interesting world and all these interesting scenarios, and then suddenly I'm talking about mini gaming PCs and Pow World.
I think
it's just hard to come down from that. So I just need a second.
I think that one of the things that we are dealing with right now, Allan, and this is what a lot of couples have when they come back from Paris, is that Paris, it's one of those places that burrows deep into your heart. The beauty of the city,
that's what it is.
Sort of disassociated nature of its people.
It's so beautiful,
but also
so
the art and the culture and the smells and the subway that run 3-minute headways on the subway.
Wow,
so
that's crazy.
You don't wait long on a train platform in Paris. 3-minute headways. Can you imagine being in New York City 3-minute headways?
No, I can't.
On every line possible.
No, I can't even imagine something like that.
But and some of them run automatically now.
Damn.
So the thing things that happen to Paris, that happen to people in Paris, are happening to us right now. But Allan will always have Paris,
Paris.
Always have Paris. So that's. Get back to the funny video game news about Pow World. Michael Gove, the of course former Education Secretary, architect of Brexit, and current UK Minister for leveling up housing and communities, just can't seem to get it right when it comes to Pow World.
What a big jerk.
Look, he thinks that's.
Is that what Pow World is?
That's another picture of Pow World, and here he is again saying Yu-Gi-Oh! So he's clearly having a difficult.
God,
and
that's
maybe
funny.
some of the same ways that he was having difficulty wrapping his own head around what he had done by helping to push through that disastrous policy of Brexit.
What a mess.
So if you're watching the show and you're struggling to sell your little book bindings across the North Sea in the English Channel, then you've got this guy, this joker to thank for that.
But he's funny.
He figured out how to get you the independence you said that you wanted, but in the end, is anyone truly independent?
Yes. I think so.
And that's funny video game news, Allan.
Hold on. Wait, listen to this.
All right, wait, that's funny. Wait, do it again. That's funny video game news.
Oh, wow.
Next up on funny video game news, it's
More
one last look at Pal World.
Pal
of course.
World. I'm
We
gonna
have
say
to-
Pal World in the chat.
I don't know. Ireland is a dead state. I don't think. That,
No, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure Ireland is
I'll have
fully
to
is fully.
I'll
living.
have to check.
I don't know. So, but ask about the chat. Ask about Pal World and Ireland and on the Green Island.
Everyone's saying
on the
Pal
Emerald.
World.
Is it the Green Island or is the Emerald Island?
I don't know.
Pal World has of course made a splash everywhere, but continues to baffle. Yes, you guessed it.
Oh,
Michael
you
Gove,
again!
Who's back to
Get him off!
Wait,
Wait, you're saying Digimon again? Get him off!
And lastly, but not leastly, he wants to take off his shirt. So that's funny video game news. That's the funny video game news from Pal World, from the real world and the Pal World.
Right.
And hopefully, by the time we get to the end of the Pal World craze, that Minister Gove will have figured out where he exactly stands on what if Pal World. Where do you stand on Pal World, Allan?
I think fun is fun, and if people are having fun, and that's fun, and it's only in early access, and it's already the most popular game of all time. So if it's already so fun, and it's just in early access, it's just going to get better from here. So I don't see any issues. I understand the complexities of IP and intellectual property and that sort of thing, but it looks very fun, and the shooting an animal sounds fun. I'd always wanted to shoot. When I've seen the Pokemon creatures, I can see the appeal of blasting one of them. So I see the appeal.
Phone lines are open. If you want to call in and tell us your funny video game news, then we would love to hear it. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 Stream 8. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's your funny video game news?
Oh, you want them to do it?
What?
Hi, Allan. Hi, Robbie. It's Cape Cody here.
Hey, Cape Cody. Cody from Florida, of
friend
course. Cape Coral. The boys from Cape Coral.
Cape Cody.
Yeah, all the boys.
All the boys from Cape Coral. All the boys are in the yard.
They live in the house. They
live in the
share a
house.
phone line.
They go in the yard. Cody brings the boys to the yard with his funny video game news from the great sinking state of Florida.
Well, you might be thrilled to hear that my funny video game news is also about Pal World.
Oh, so you can just throw up a picture of Pal World, Robbie?
Throw up Pal World. Throw up a picture of Pal World. Hold on for a minute. There we go.
Okay.
No. There we go.
There we go. So go ahead. Funny video game news from Pal World, Florida. Let's go, Cody.
So let's say like the graphic is like a pal holding like a gun, like a minigun, like Grisbolt. You know Grisbolt. He looks like an Electabuzz kind of.
Okay, I'm picturing that.
Or let's see, what's another one that can hold like a machine gun? Any particular pal?
Any of the pals they're called? I haven't played Pal World, so they're called pals.
Yeah, pal. Yeah, yep. They're called pals, and
that is that acronym for anything in the way that not that Pokemon was not an acronym, but it was a shortening, of course, of Pocket Monsters.
No,
digital monsters.
I think
they're just pals.
Little, yeah.
Just pals.
Let's hear it.
So, okay, so first slide is some pals holding guns, and then the next slide is Ron DeSantis.
Uh-oh. Florida, you know him.
Yep.
Florida.
Let's hear what he. This is something that we got to point out. We listen to what they have to say. We might disagree with them
we hope for the best
on every issue imaginable, but when it comes to the funny video game news, we keep an
well.
open heart and an open mind.
Okay, let's hear it, Ron.
Ron DeSantis is looking at all his pals holding guns, and he's saying nothing wrong with this because Florida now has no permit you don't have to have a permit to conceal carry in Florida. So Ron DeSantis is looking at those pals and going, "Daddy like."
Oh, you said "Daddy like."
He says "Daddy like"
because that sounds pretty funny.
All right.
But then he says ... Dragon Quest monsters.
Dragon Quest monsters. Now that's funny. I think the idea of course.
That's funny.
The former presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, back to just being governor of Florida. He's still stuck on Dragon Quest monsters. Allan, what do you think about that?
That is funny to think about. Wow, what an interesting thing an image to think about, and playing Pal World with the guns and saying that. and being stuck on that in that way, it is funny.
And thank you for your call, Cody from Florida. We do have to let you go. We have
Thank
another
you.
caller on the air right now. Caller, who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's the funny video game news?
Well, back to you, Robbie, and back to you, Allan. It is your good pal, friend of the show, friend of the chat. Not to be confused with Pal World.
Just human pal.
Scott from Pittsburgh.
Scott from the pit.
Scott, our pal of the show.
Scott from the pal from the pit.
Pal from the pit.
Pal from the pit. Scott from the pit.
Pal of the show from the pit. Scott from the pit, who is your pal.
We love you, Scott.
We're always glad to hear noise from the pit.
We're always glad to hear the noise from the pit.
And that was an interesting thing about the thing about the pit, Allan, is that that's where the gargoyles were taking all the other.
Don't tell me more about the story.
Sorry, I won't tell.
I don't want to go back.
So Scott from the pit, what's your good video game news?
Video game. Let's see. Funny video game. There is funny video game news.
Breaking news. There is funny video game news from the pit.
Here, let me do a little fanfare.
Okay.
I believe that there's actually back to you, Robbie. Actually, 2 pieces of funny video game news from Pittsburgh, I believe.
Sorry, that sound is a bit long.
So the chat is saying that I'm deaf quiet. I will try to
we're a little. Callers are a little bit quiet. We're gonna. Just everyone take a quick breath, and let's just do another quick prayer. Scott from Pittsburgh. Everyone bow your heads. Dear Lord, please help us and help James and Allan and me and everyone else figure out exactly how to use the software if you can, and asking and wishing to receive, but also we also give thanks for the community, for the ministry, and for the fellowship that comes with EDI2 Stream 8 here on twitch.tv/EDI_2. And bless our sponsors.
No, sorry about that.
Drive,
Shoot.
The mini gaming desktops, possibly Bitnap books as well, and also Copper Wire. Back to you, Scott from Pittsburgh.
And back to you, Robbie. Back to you, Allan. I
Back
would
to you,
like
Scott.
to thank you for that, moment of prayer, if you will. Breaking news for gaming news out of Pittsburgh, and I think you'll be kind of shocked to hear this, but breaking news out of Pittsburgh actually
Breaking news out of Pittsburgh
has to deal with Power World.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So there, imagine there's a slide of Power World up on the screen, which is probably already up there, but I can't see it yet.
Hold on. Let's see if I can hold on.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, then I'm trusting that it's on screen now. So breaking news out of Pittsburgh is recently was heard. Mayor Ed Gainey, when asked, shown gameplay of Power World and asked his takes on it, he said, "Gigapets."
Say that again.
He was wondering if Power World was just a remastered version of Gigapets.
Gigapets.
Gigapets. Hold on, can I Google?
Was it a Tamagotchi? Was a Gigapet, I believe?
Let me look.
Tamagotchis.
Hold on.
Are Tamagotchis and Gigapets the same thing?
I'm looking.
Digimon? Were they Digipets?
I spelled it wrong.
There was a Digimon.
Gigapet.
This is where the confusion might be coming in, Scott from Pittsburgh, and it's no knock on you for trying to bring us the funny video game news from
Gigapet
the pit.
is like a Tamagotchi. Yeah.
So but was there, what we're looking for, is there a open world-esque RPG, turn-based RPG where you collect the Gigapets and throw them?
It's not that. I think what Scott from the pit is saying that similar
back to you, Allan. That is exactly what I'm saying. The Gigapets.
You're saying like
and it's
Gigapet. Oh,
and it's
Gigapets is
so
to Tamagotchi as Power World is to Pokemon.
Because he has confused it that much.
And who said that?
Mayor Ed Gainey of Pittsburgh.
Mayor Ed Gainey, which is a funny name for someone whose city is in the Allegheny Mountains.
I think that's pretty funny.
Or near the Allegheny Mountains.
Robbie,
is it still considered Allegheny County?
Robbie, I hit the button.
Oh, we hit the funny video game. That's funny video game news.
That is funny. Thank you,
back
Scott.
to you, Allan, and back to you, Robbie.
Thank to you.
Other video game news coming out of Pittsburgh, and I think everyone will be pleased to know that it had to deal with hydrophobia.
Hydrophobia, of course, was one of the games that we reviewed on
Fear of water.
EGI2's 6 to 7 out of 10 reviews. 3.
Yeah, I believe it got a 6.2 after the rating was remastered.
It was the chat was demanding that the low score of 5. I think it was 5.8.
I believe it did get bumped up over a 6.
It was below a 6 point. It was below a 6, but the chat was not
The
having
chat's
it.
saying
Demanded that
6.2.
hydrophobia stay in the sun despite being trapped underneath the water.
Hydrophobia, the fear of water.
So the breaking news was coming out of Phoenix, Arizona, where it was former 8 medal winning Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps was said that he's still anticipating the release of the second episode of the Hydrophobia series, as he felt that the graphics in the first game were a little washed up.
That's funny video.
Oh, I get it. That is so funny. Thank you so much for calling in. That's so funny. Thank you.
And back to you, Allan, and back to you, Robbie. Robbie, I'm glad that you do appreciate that, because as you both know, I don't play many video games, and I did some research to try and come up with that. and back to you, Robbie. Back to you, Allan. I did want to say that I do just appreciate the both of you so much. People in the chat at times, they've said that possibly, let's replace Allan with Scott, and to those people I say, hey, because Allan, as we know, plays an important role and does a lot of hard work on the show, and I actually feel that it is an honor to work with Robbie and Allan, and I do say work because I feel as though I work with you all, because I kind of feel as though I'm not being paid like Allan and like the list, so I kind of consider myself to have a job on the show.
Thank you, Scott.
That's the funny video game
very
news
funny.
from the pit. Thank you for
your
Scott from Pittsburgh.
update from the pit.
We'll be. Do we have another caller on hold right now? We're cutting off the phone lines for a little while, and we will be back. Oh, we do have a call. Oh, sorry, caller, you're on the air with EGI2. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's the funny video game news? And don't hold back.
Hello, I'm Abel from Vermont. I've called before.
Abel from Vermont, the great state, the Emerald State, the Green State, Green Mountain State.
It's a beautiful state.
It's a beautiful state. It's a classic state. It's one of the 4 states that started the whole thing off.
Yes, and since our last call, I learned who the governor of Vermont is. His name is Phil Scott.
Phil Scott,
Phil
of course,
Scott,
governor, a Republican, I believe.
I believe so.
Which is an odd thing,
actually-
isn't that?
Yes.
Thinking
quite
about
odd.
anachronisms.
Some
when it comes
states
to
are
the
like that. Some states are like
constitutional
that.
monarchies. A state as green and blue as Vermont keeps electing these Republican governors.
Sometimes the governor doesn't always match the color of the state. Back to you.
Back to you, Abel?
Yes.
Abel from Vermont? Let's hear it.
I was able to get a hold of him, and I asked him if he had any funny video game news, and he said to me, bring back Platinum Arts Sandbox.
What was the thing that they showed before he said it?
Oh, shoot.
It It was a screenshot from the game Platinum Arts Sandbox. It was the airport level, I believe.
Okay.
What did he want to? He wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, well, he said to me he was a big fan of the game, and he thinks it should still be, it doesn't have an active player base anymore, but
Right.
he thinks that should change.
Huh.
And the servers,
thought that
the
was
servers.
funny.
There's no servers.
There might be, but I think it's a very, very old game.
How old are we talking about? Like Codename Eagle?
2007, I believe, is when it came out.
It's not that old.
No. Huh.
Yeah.
I gotta think on that.
Well, it never got very big, so I don't think there's much of a surviving player base.
Are you? But you're playing it. You're thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan.
Let me try to picture
Phil
that.
Scott said it.
Yeah, Phil Scott.
He said, "Bring
Governor
back."
Phil Scott said that to me.
Say the whole thing from the beginning, and we'll think on it. We'll close our eyes.
Governor Phil Scott
Close your
said to
eyes.
me.
Well, first you
Bring
say
ba-
it's in the news. The game to which you're referring is in the news first.
Yeah, try it that way, because maybe that's why.
Well,
it wasn't working.
okay. In the news is Phil Scott, but he said to me that he said to bring back Platinum Arts Sandbox, and now it's in the news because he said that.
Oh, I get it. Oh my god. That's really good.
I know, yeah.
Thank you, Abel. That was really funny.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah. Big fan of the show.
Very nice.
That was the funny video game news from EGI2 Stream 8. Thank you for calling in and sharing your funny video game news with us this evening. But we do have a big show with lots of different things to discuss tonight. So let's head on and let's do tonight's. EGI2 is, of course, coming back to you live. EGI2 Stream 8 is coming back to you live with none other than the 2004 Game of the Year Awards. The 2004 Game of the Year Awards starts now. Allan, what are you excited about? What are you looking for?
I always love when you do these segments, when you talk about these games. And this sound is a bit of a tail, so...
Bit of a tail?
There's a tail in the sound.
There's a tail in the sound.
Like, listen, here's a shorter one.
Okay. Love it. Congratulations
And it ends?
to the winners.
And then here's another one.
another one.
So you think it would end, that would be the end, but then there's a long kind of applause.
But that's the applause line that you need.
I know, I just want to
Just
apologize for
we aren't
that.
taking calls right now. Sorry that the calling graphic is up, but we will be taking calls shortly once we get more into the 2004 EGI2's 2004 Game of the Year Awards.
It was
Starts now.
It was a great year for games.
Allan, so 2004 was, of course, a huge year for video games, Allan. But when you're thinking about 2004, what stands out to you that you're looking for in this evening's awards ceremony?
I just want all the hard work that all the programmers and artists who make these wonderful games. I think this is a chance for them to get the credit they deserve because they did do a lot of work. And since we're talking about 2004, of course, we all remember that year quite fondly and what happened on that year. So I think it's been a while. They probably, these these artists and programmers haven't gotten an award for their work in a while. So this is going to be a big opportunity for them. I hope we have a lot of big winners. I hope some underdogs win, but I also hope some of the bigger studios, the Nintendos and the Microsofts and all of these wonderful companies, PlayStation, of course, these games deserve recognition, especially in the 2004 era. So I just hope people go away, leave the awards ceremony happy, go home happy, and there's no losers and just winners tonight.
And of course, in some ways, the award itself is the journey. The award is the journey. Allan.
I think what you're trying to say is it's an honor just to be nominated.
And if you go home to mommy and daddy tonight, and you've got no award, then mommy and daddy are still going to love you, and they're still going to give you all of the things that you need to make it through the evening and wake up the next morning the same person that you were when you went to bed.
Right. The sun will come out tomorrow. You will wake up. When you sleep, you stay on Earth. You don't go somewhere else. And just know that the next day will come, and you could have a second shot at making a
Nathan
video
Vegetable
game.
in the chat wants to know what happens if mommy and daddy are fighting.
If mommy and daddy are fighting, they still love you. They just fight. They're just having a temporary disagreement that will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the sun will come up.
And of course, if mommy and daddy have been together long enough to have you be their baby and then grow up to be a big boy or a big girl and go off and make video games and be a part of the 2004 EGI2's 2004 Game of the Year Awards, and they've been together for a long time, and therefore they deserve each other. Each person deserves the other person's patience. If things if there's a problem. Then you take the time to work it out. You communicate. Sometimes a relationship can be salvaged, and if not, then you at least know that you've got some closure because you've done everything that you can to figure out if it can continue.
That's right, and it's no reflection on the game that you made or didn't make. It's just that's mommy and daddy. The game you made was good.
The game that made was good. Mommy and daddy love baby. They love you so much, and they want to make sure that you grow up happy and are always a happy baby. And they will they will bounce you up and down, and they will hold you close and toss you in the air to hear your little giggles. And the tears of joy will flow like wine, and everyone will drink the wine.
Absolutely, and we love that. We love and I think mommy and daddy should get an award. And just to be inclusive, mommy and mom. Some people have two mommies, and some people have two daddies. Some people have no mommies, no daddies, or one mommy, just one daddy. But we love everyone, even the childless.
And with that, let's go straight to the awards ceremony. EGI2's 2004 Game of the Year Award starts right now. So EGI2's 2004 Game of the Year Award starts with our first award of the evening, and that, of course, award goes to none other than award for the third Kessen game goes to Kessen 3.
Yep.
Kessen, honorable mention, of course, Kessen 2, which did not come out in 2004, but because 2 is so close to 3, deserves a honorable mention. Next up, Champions of Norath Award for Best Cash-In on a Trend no one was really invested in goes to Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, of course, with the honorable mention being, of course, Champions of Norath. And, of course, the trend that we are talking about is the taking of these larger CRPGs and turning them into top-down action games with light RPG mechanics that were ultimately very linear, but lacked the depth and the staying power of their big boys.
So
congratulations
to Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
Next up, the game. This award for this game. It's just a game called Nightmare of Druaga Fushinigo Dungeon. Next up, of course, is the game that was made by the people who made Metroid Dread. I think you'll be surprised to know, Alan, that it was American McGee's Scrapland Award. That goes to American McGee's Scrapland. And our, of course, 2004 Game of the Year Award goes to Painkiller Battle Out of Hell. Alan, what did you think of the 2004 Game of the Year Awards? And was there a snub that you saw? Or were the awards doled out properly and with great respect to all of those games that came out in 2004?
It's a great question. Properly and fairly, I think the judging of the 2004 Game of the Year awards has been all above board, and I think the winners, I think they deserve the win. I applaud them. I salute them, and I just am noting that I'm a little unsure what graphics were like in 2004 because they seem a little all over the place. But it's interesting. It's just interesting to look back and see the graphics here because those look okay. That's what I would imagine.
Yeah, it looks like you can see a body is being completely torn apart by the shredding weaponry of the painkiller.
Mm-hmm. And can you go to that American McGee robot slide? So that looks,
Mercury Steam was the name of the studio. Alan,
was that like a rendered image or was that gameplay?
That was gameplay.
That looks pretty good for 2004.
Well, that's why it's in the 2004 Game of the Year Awards. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, it will be Alan's special report. All right, we are back for EGI2. We're still streaming. It's still stream 8 EGI Twitch TV/EGI_2 stream 8, and we are excited to have our very special report from EGI2 special correspondent Allan Resnick.
Yay!
Allan, take it away. What's your special report about, and what does bait child?
What are you trying to say to me?
What does we're talking about family?
I thought
what do you, so what I want to know? I'm bait, and now you are
maybe brother. A brother with talk to maybe an older brother who's giving a report to the baby, teaching the baby.
Teaching the baby.
Maybe I'll be the teacher. Is the teacher part of the family?
And baby does love the teacher. So we do. Teacher Allan, take it away.
It's fun for me to have an opportunity to be teacher to baby Robbie, because normally it's, if you've ever seen the show, normally Robbie teaches me so much and I do learn so much. And I was actually, probably would have never even talked about video games or done a special report without the guidance of teacher Robbie. So teacher to teacher, teacher to baby Robbie, baby Allan, teacher to night teacher, and I'm giving a special report. And this is going to be a really, people love my special reports, and this I think is going to be an all-time great special report. So I am quite excited.
Baby loves teacher.
Thank you.
And
back to
baby
you, Robbie.
can't do it baby can't go to school without teacher, because mommy and daddy drop baby off at the school, and baby wants to learn and play, and teacher does that, and that is, and so in some ways teacher is family.
Welcome to class, Robbie, baby Robbie. Welcome to class. Class is in session. Special report. This is my special report. Saberwolf, a classic adventure on the Game Boy Advance.
So breaking news. No one else is breaking news. No one else is talking about breaking news. Breaking news. No one else is talking about Saberwolf on twitch.tv/EGI_2. We have breaking news from the Saberwolf, from the world of Saberwolf. Thanks to Allan Resnick on the. Thanks to Allan Resnick.
So tell everyone else on Twitch that there is one stream on the whole platform talking about Saberwolf for the Game Boy Advance, and that is me. So Saberwolf is a classic action-adventure video game released on the Game Boy Advance, of course. That's what we're talking about.
Classic Game Boy Advance structured there. No Game Boy Advance SP, no Game Boy Advance Micro. That's the original. That's the what they say is the OG, the original gangster, which is a bit of an anachronism.
Cyberwolf was released for the Game Boy Advance in 2004, and it was developed by Rare Limited, and published by THQ.
THQ, the publishers, of course, of the Red Faction series, Darksiders, the original Saints Row trilogy, and up to Saints Row. How many Saints Row? There was 5 Saints Row games, and then they rebooted.
Yeah. Saberwolf holds a special place in the hearts of gamers who grew up with the Game Boy Advance. So maybe we can show a little footage from Saberwolf right now, or we can put that on screen while I talk, or we can maybe, I like when you fade, if you can fade and you show me as well. So Saberwolf, this is the history of Saberwolf. Saberwolf is actually kind of a reimagining or a remastering, not a remastering, a reboot.
It's a reboot.
It's a reboot of, hold on, let me get my slides good.
What's a part of a wolf?
Let me do the report. Cut to me. Is a different game for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. So you see that is a different kind of, it's an older video game console, and it was actually a different game called, it's the same name, Saberwolf. And yeah. Did I? Oh shoot. It was developed by Ultimate Play the Game. It's keying out, but you can see that Ultimate Play the Game. Here we go. And where's? Oh, maybe I'll get to it. Well, here's some footage from that. Oh, it's keying out like crazy because there's so much green in it. So this is the original game. You see that? It looks a little different, but it's basically the same game. And how do I go back? Shoot. I'm just trying to get a handle on this. What was I saying?
It was originally on the Z. Someone was saying that we actually should be referring to it as the ZX.
Okay,
Spectrum.
Sure. The ZX Spectrum. Ultimate Play the Game. The company was founded by Tim and Chris Stamper. Maybe they were brothers, who later established, that's right, you guessed it, Rare. So that's why they decided to make that Saberwolf game again. The game is a top-down adventure that features exploration, puzzle solving, as well as side-scrolling platforming. Its unique band of gameplay elements make it a standout title for the time. The Game Boy Advanced version of Saberwolf is a modern remake of the original ZX Spectrum game, which we just talked about, that's when I was going to show it. Okay. That's the original game. I already said that. It was developed by Rare, I said that, which is also well known for its other successful franchises, Donkey Kong Country, that's keying out like crazy, and of course,
Banjo-Kazooie. We know all about Banjo-Kazooie here on EGI2. We've had Banjo on. We've had Banjo speaking directly to us once before.
That was on EGI 1, so I don't think that's canon.
I'm saying,
The development of the game aimed to preserve the essence of the original game while updating it to take advantage of the Game Boy Advance's hardware and capabilities. Saberwolf on the Game Boy Advance retained the core gameplay mechanics of its predecessor. Players took control of the titular character Sableman. What did I say? Sableman. Their titular character Sableman. And as he ventured through the vast labyrinth world filled with dangerous creatures, traps, and treasures. The game featured the following key gameplay elements. Exploration. I guess you can kind of already see it there. Exploration. The game encouraged exploration as players navigated through the maze-like world, uncovering secret passageways and hidden items. Puzzle solving. Saberwolf was known for its challenging puzzles that required logical thinking and problem solving. Combat. Saberman would defend himself with various weapons. Oh, combat. I have a slide for that. Oh, that's keying out a lot. Shoot. Oh, it's like kind of a green monster there. I don't know why my slides don't just go on the screen. Combat, collectibles. You could collect all sorts of things throughout the game. And Saberwolf is a game for the Game Boy Advance. It was received generally positive reviews from both critics and players upon its release. The game was praised for its clever design, its faithful recreation of the ZX classic. Reviewers also praised the game's challenge and puzzling, rewarding exploration. The visuals and sound design were also commendable, considering the hardware limitations of the Game Boy Advance. The graphic featured colorful and detailed sprites, and the music contributed to the overall atmosphere of the game. We can just cut to me. Legacy. While Saberwolf may not have achieved the same level as other rare titles, it remains a cherished classic for fans of the Game Boy Advance. It blends adventure, puzzle solving, and action elements. And in recent years, Saberwolf has gained renewed attention thanks to its resurgence of interest in retro gaming. Emulators and digital re-release have made it accessible to a new generation of players. Saberwolf for the Game Boy Advance is a testament to the enduring legacy of that gaming experience. The game successfully captured the essence of the original, while new generation to appreciate the adventures of Sableman in a combination of exploration, puzzle solving, and action, making it a noteworthy entry in the Game Boy Advance library of titles. Back to you, Robbie.
Back to you, Allan. And that was a very thoughtful and detailed report on Saberwolf on the Game Boy Advance. Pretty good. But there's one thing that I think that you've neglected to mention, Allan, which of course is that the Saberwolf in Saberwolf, the title character of Saberwolf is the same Saberwolf from the Killer Instinct universe.
I think I said that. Wait. Say that again.
Saberwolf.
I said that.
From the Saberwolf the title character of Saberwolf on the Game Boy Advance and the ZX Spectrum is the same Saberwolf from the Killer Instinct, the maniacal and crazy wolf character from Killer Instinct that tears and shreds and rolls around and just bites and slashes and cuts. And the blood comes out and rolls on and flies through the air and the combos and the combo breakers, and it's the same Saberwolf.
I think I said that. Saberwolf.
Let's go to the calls. Let's go to the phone lines right now and see what people are saying about Allan's special report on Saberwolf. We have a caller? No caller.
I think I said that. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one.
I said that.
You didn't say it. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 Stream 8. We're having a bit of a technical difficulty here. Allan seems to think that he talked in depth about Saberwolf on the Killer Instinct being the same Saberwolf from the Game Boy Advance game. But first of all, who are you and where are you calling from?
My name's Neil Bauer. I'm calling from Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
Neil from Portland.
Oregon.
The Bridge City. What are your thoughts about Saberwolf? And did Allan actually mention that Saberwolf is the same character from the Killer Instinct universe?
I think I did.
So I thought it was Saberwolf. I thought it was going to be like Killer Instinct, but
That's
it turned
what
out
I
to be
said
its own
that.
game.
No,
So-
it was just a reference to it.
So the issue, Neil, that I'm having right now is that when it came to assigning the special report this week, I'm pretty sure I said I wanted a special report on the character Saberwolf, so we could explore the breadth of the Saberwolf, as a kind of cultural touchstone character. So it would have included the Saberwolf games and Killer Instinct.
Yeah, that's good. The thing that confused me is who made that game. I don't even know who made that game. It wasn't
hold
Nintendo,
on, let me look
was
it up.
Let's take an EGI2's patience meter.
It was rated. It was created by Rare and published by THQ, and it was originally a game on the ZX Spectrum gaming console. And it was originally made by Ultimate Play the Game. That was the name of the developer. And they had the license to Saberwolf, so they turned into Rare. The brothers who ran it turned into Rare. And then I think right around here I said that Saberwolf is also a character in another game that it was referenced from this game.
Neil, what are your
sounds
thoughts?
like it has the same problem like Star Control had. Star Control was owned by the Toys for Bob guys, and then someone bought the rights to the name and made an entirely different Star Control, but he didn't own the rights to the actual game or the story mechanics.
Well, what about
Sounds
that,
very
Allan? What
similar.
about Star Control? Are we dealing with the same? If Neil from Portland is correct, then we're dealing with the same issues of perhaps the issues of consolidation that have plagued so many game historians over the last 7 to 8 years are hitting us right now when it comes to Saberwolf.
Well, I don't know. I didn't hear most of that, so I'm going to guess that.
Neil, what you're
You
saying
guys
about
have a couple-
the passage of time, or these media companies keep buying and selling each other off like crazy, and so we don't know who owns what. So we don't know, obviously we don't know who owns these characters that you're talking about from the Star Control games.
That's an excellent point. You
And
bring up an excellent
Allan
point.
obviously doesn't know who owns or controls the Saberwolf.
I said who
character.
it was. Rare.
But he didn't know. But apparently he didn't. Well, he claims to know, but he doesn't seem to have made the effort to point out that the Saberwolf Killer Instinct character.
I did mention it.
What
Why,
the connection? What you want to do is bridge the connection between the two
Robbie? I mentioned
games.
it. Why else would I have the slide if I didn't mention it? Right?
That's a browser window. So
That's a
while
screenshot of a browser.
So what you did was you just searched for Saberwolf while I was asking you about the Killer Instinct Saberwolf.
No, I didn't,
Because
Robbie.
because in a true special report about Saberwolf, you probably would have shown several different iterations of Saberwolf from
I
the
do.
original
Look, I have,
Killer Instinct
I have like a ton of
to
slides.
the current live service Killer. I
I-
believe it's still a live service game, is it, Neil?
I don't know. Well,
I had a bunch of
here's what's really-
slides.
What's really cool is you just had the 2004 awards,
Right.
and Burnout 3, which wasn't in your awards, I realize, but Burnout 3 came out on, but it was owned by Acclaim. Burnout 1 and 2 were made by Acclaim, and then Burnout 3 got picked up by Electronic Arts.
Exactly.
This isn't a new problem. This has
This
gone
has been
on
going on for a
throughout
long. And what else? What else about the? And what else did Acclaim own the rights to back in the turn of the 21st century? But games like Turok and Shadow Man and Armorines.
Yes.
And who owns them now?
That's a great Armorines, I have no idea.
I believe it's
But
Atari.
South Park, possibly. They had Acclaim had South Park and Burnout and ECW. They had a bunch of licenses that got, whoa, that's pretty intense. Yeah, but now who owns what? I don't even know if Atari's Atari anymore.
And it's impossible. It was just, you're familiar with NPR there, Neil?
We do have NPR here, but I don't.
Well, if you're familiar with the program on NPR called 1A, they just had a wonderful conversation with the gaming historians about the difficulty of tracking down all the people who actually own these things. And I was just thinking about the old SSL Dungeons & Dragons games, Allan.
Me too.
Who owns the Dark Sun series, or Eye of the Beholder, or
who owns the Dark
Veil
Sun
of Darkness,
series?
or any of those wonderful games? We've gone through so many waves of acquisition and consolidation and liquidation. That what's happening?
Who owns Dark Sun series? They're owned by. TSR Inc. Wizards of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast, the people that
Hold on.
created
I know this one.
Magic the Gathering.
Magic the
Magic the
Gathering.
Gathering,
And-
of course. Magic
yeah,
the Gathering and Pokemon trading card game.
So as you can see, the culture is cyclical. History is written by the victors, and the saber wolf rises to the top of the mountain, screams at the moon, and the shockwaves from the screaming in the valleys below shake us all and shake us all into a state of confusion as we try to get to the bottom of the saber wolf. The saber wolf he's at the top. Neil.
He's the best. I think Saberwolf was my favorite Killer Instinct character by far.
Me too. That's
No,
why.
it's obviously. You serious?
No, I was kidding.
Obviously.
Jade. I'm a Saberwolf guy.
No, it's not Jade.
It's
Jacko.
Jacko. That's what I said.
Thank you. Thank you for calling, Neil. We do have another call coming in. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 Stream 8. What are your thoughts on the Saberwolf special report from EGI special correspondent Allan Resnick?
Well, back to you, Robbie, and back to you, Allan. It is your good pal, friend of the show, friend of the chat, Scott
from Pittsburgh.
Yes, of
Scott from
course.
the pit.
Scott from the pit. News
Scott,
from the
pal,
pit.
pal,
Pit pal.
pit pal, pit pal, baby.
Pit.
I am reporting live from the pit pal.
So
From the
Scott
pal pit, from the pal pit, if you will.
from the pulpit,
Pulpit.
just like the story.
Yeah, it all comes full. Maybe the priest is coming back into play. I don't know. Well, there's not a hype train, so the priest
of course,
isn't coming back.
it's up to the viewers as to what happens with that. But Scott, what's the news from the pit, and what are people saying in Pittsburgh about Saberwolf on the Game Boy Advance?
A lot of talk about Saberwolf, and word on the streets is, at least here in Pittsburgh, that Allan's report is very much appreciated, and
Thank you, Scott.
There is some agreement that while maybe Allan didn't go into full depth of mentioning, the Saber Wolf and the Killer Instinct connection, he did mention it, and then I would like to say
He mentioned it after the fact.
I mentioned
but
it.
I think he
That's
did
the
mention
headline.
it during the report, but he took the time to mention it after the report, and then even researched some
headline.
very good gifts for us.
That's
what
right.
I would
Thank
say,
you, Scott.
what I would say to you, Scott from Pittsburgh, is that with the in-depth look at the Saberwolf phenomenon that we all are deeply, I find that we are back in it,
Yes.
up to our waists practically with the Saberwolf phenomenon. That what we would wanted to have seen would be button combinations and the rolls and the button presses that you would need to execute the various Saberwolf special moves, combos, psycho combos, ultimate combos. Brutal.
Now here's my question to you. Back to you, Robbie. My question to you is: now, should we go that in depth on button combinations when in fact the game review was about Saberwolf the game, not necessarily Saberwolf the character on Killer Instincts?
And
That's
the
why,
answer is
yeah.
yes, Scott from Pittsburgh, and I'll tell you why. It's because because you would want to do a side-by-side comparison of the different what the different buttons do in one game to what they do in another game. Because, and I do believe
Low
this,
Vibes, Low Vibes 75 says that's a different special
No,
report.
it's the same special
No,
report.
that's not.
It's
You
the
used to
same
do a Cyberwolf special report.
No,
Nothing about
Saberwolf.
Saberwolf.
Saberwolf is a
game.
Is a
It's
cultural.
two
Is
games.
a cultural. It's up. He's up there. He might as well have a statue in the Natural
But
History
Robbie, I don't
Museum.
do character reports. I've always been about games.
You do a special report.
I've always done special
Well,
reports
back
about
to
games.
James, if we could get a
Game Boy
James, if we could
Advance.
get a
Scott from
poll
Pittsburgh.
going in the chat, if the report was to be about Saberwolf the game,
Yes.
or if the report was to be about Saberwolf the character.
I'll pull up my
And back to James, if we could get a
one
poll.
without the other, and you certainly can't mention you can't just go through. You can't mention the ZX Spectrum one and the Game Boy Advance one, and then completely fall short of mentioning the Killer Instinct Saberwolf, who elevated the character and elevated our consciousness as a culture, a society, to the existence of this man turned animal.
Well, you know,
Here's the email I got. Let me just read the email. This is from Robbie to me. Allan, I think we're really going to need a report from you on Saberwolf for the Game Boy Advance.
And then... ...
It just shows the rest of the thread, nothing else.
And what's the email at the bottom of the thread?
These are just old emails talking about the hype train, talking about different graphics we're going to need, nothing about characters. So, oh no, there is another email. There's a separate email. It just says Saberwolf. And it's spelled different. It's spelled with the U.
Chunky Flan says, "Hey Robbie, when are you going to mention paying Allan in your report to us?" Well, we do. Allan, show him the Stream Deck.
So if you're just,
we've got two Stream Deck XLs. We've got one
if
right
this
here.
is your first time watching EGI2, Robbie hasn't been paying me or James in traditional currency, like legal tender, traditional legal tender. Even though I did go on strike for a while for this, he's been paying me in sort of different Stream Decks that get larger and larger over the course of the show. I can't take them home. They're property of the studio that we film out of. And I guess they're property of Robbie, but they're so fun to play with. So I'll just demo this real quick. So this is kind of my payment, is I'll hit the button.
Double Plus Good Game says, no mention of the worm light. Allan, what's up with what's going on with the worm light situation? Have we kind of landed somewhere on that where we can feel free to address it?
The worm light?
Yes, the worm light.
I don't think I know what that means.
Well, back to you, Allan, and back to you, Robbie. You know, I did want to ask you. I don't know if the 2004 game. Well, one, I was a little disappointed that I thought Tony Hawk Underground 2 was a shoe-in for the least amount of hydration by a character during the game.
Least amount of hydration.
And I also thought that I saw in the news that there were big rumors that Def Jam Fight for New York was certainly a shoe-in for most big-ass chains in a game.
For big-ass what?
Chains, as in necklaces.
Like chains on tires to drive in the snow?
Chains as in like
that would have been
the crucifixes on necks.
The chains would have been part of the Painkiller Award. Because there's because of the chain gun.
Well, now that does make sense.
Thank you for that, Scott from Pittsburgh.
Thank you,
But
Scott.
we will be taking a look. Maybe we've gotten a lot of questions about the EGI2.
Could we please do the one thing I'd like to request? Well, one, I'd like to say you have inspired me recently, Robbie, and I honestly think that you'll be very happy about this. I did pick up my Nintendo Switch today.
Nice.
And I said, I'm going to put in some time for Robbie. I'm going to do a little research, and I'm going to play a game and see how it goes and see how I like it. And so I think you'll be very pleased with the game that I chose. Now, it wasn't 2004. It's a little pre-2004. We're going Nintendo 64, and it was Kirby is the Crystal Shard.
Of course, Kirby and the Crystal Shards, the famous 2.5D Kirby game on the Nintendo 64. Kirby must inhale and he must step and flute and inhale and descend.
And I must say, I did. When I first started playing the game, I thought to myself, I don't know about this. I don't think this is for me. And by the time I was in maybe like World 1, 2, or 1, 3, I thought to myself, no, this game is actually a winner. Because this is when I started learning about how you could inhale these different villains, if you will, and even make combinations out of these. And I did want to say I had a few. There were a lot of combinations that I liked, and I did put down a few. The first one that I found that I liked is when you inhaled 2 stone people and you could become almost like a big rock man. Just kind of you roll for a second and then you just walk around very heavily, and I could feel the heaviness of the walking, so I thought they did a good job on that. And then there was a combination where it was a bomb and a fire, and this may have been my favorite one because it made like a firework Kirby, and you could do a series of 3 booms in a row, if you will. So it's almost like you jump and you boom, 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 and then you would fall back down and you could jump and boom, boom, boom. And I thought that was pretty interesting, and a peculiar one, but also a very useful one, was that you could do an ice character and an electric character, and you would become a refrigerator Kirby that threw food out, and the food could kill enemies, but then you could eat the food to restore your power, and that was like a double bonus that almost circles back to my love of the weapons for Perfect Dark.
And Alan, that is how you do a special report.
That was my special report on Kirby, and it also had a water level that surprisingly enough didn't have a lot of water in it, but the level before that was almost entirely in water where you fought a shark, and it did help with my fear of water because it was a fun kind of water game.
Scott, I hear you. I did hear your special report. I liked your special report. It was well researched. It was well explained. It was clear. But my special report was, one, what Robbie asked for in email, explicitly in writing. And mine had lots of graphics and images. So I don't, no offense to you, because I did love your special report and I do appreciate you calling in and giving this impromptu special report. But I do think mine does get a little bit of a bump, a boost, just simply because it was requested and it had slides. But
and back to you, Alan. I would absolutely agree. And if you could imagine, in my head, I was kind of fading in and out, and you could see the 2 of you in the background, but also myself. And it was kind of just fading back and forth. I was imagining that in my head. And there was slides. There was, like, if you could almost imagine Kirby as like a, if I don't know if there's a Steam key sound for that, but it's like a, and he's sucking these things up.
That's the closest sound I have.
He can either spit them out or swallow them.
That could be the sound. Okay, thank you, Scott. Sound off in the chat if you saw the
Alan's,
slides.
Special reports. And now, EGI2 is proud to announce that we do have a few more. We have a few Steam keys to give away this evening before we sort of slide into the next section of the show.
Oh, okay.
We do have some Steam keys to give away. So let's give let's see the Steam key giveaway sign, and it's.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Steam key giveaway. The Steam key giveaway is here. Let's everybody get your pens, your pencils, your pads, your tablets, everything that you need to write down the Steam keys as they come down. First Steam key giveaway. This is a big surprise. I think a lot of people will be excited about this. Let's see the trailer for the first Steam key of the evening. I think that people will be very pleased to when they see the Steam I think people are going to be very pleased tonight because this is a Steam key giveaway that we've often thought about, that we've often believed would be coming because
Sonic
of
Adventures 2.
because of the lineage is there, the history is there, and the battle has not yet been fought.
What is this,
Accomplished.
Robbie? Is this a
This is the
real
Steam
game?
key giveaway.
No, I know that. Is this a Sonic game?
This is a Sonic. Yes, of course it's a Sonic game.
But it says for the Dream-
there he is,
it
the
says
Blue
it's a-
Blur himself, going nuts. All of his friends are there. Knuckles, the Showdown,
You said this
Shadow, the tracks.
You said it was a Steam key.
It's a Steam key giveaway
it's something had
for this.
Dreamcast.
And we haven't announced what the.
Or is it Shadow? It conquered. Wow, look how fast he goes. Does he always run like that? He had a 2-player
Battle.
battle. Okay. Wow, he's so fast. Is this real?
This is real. This is a Steam key giveaway, folks. So if you're seeing this and your mouth is salivating with the thought of the key of this key being validated in your Steam your Steam window, get ready to race to the finish line when it comes to entering the Steam key into their Steam, into the tab. There's a tab at the top of the Steam app on Windows, on Macintosh. Drop down, says activate game on Steam, and
You can't play it on
with
Mac.
that
Can you play Sonic Adventures 2
Sonic
on Mac?
and Sonic Adventure 2 on we can't play it on Mac, but if you
said,
most people have
you can install
multiple
Steam.
multiple
Dreamcast.
systems. Dreamcast, but not just Dreamcast, but also Steam. I guess you could call it Steamcast. So Steam key giveaway for Sonic Adventure 2 and the Battle
Steamcast.
DLC is as follows: XMR7N-N7YFD6 W9RR. Those are my initials.
Robbie Rack.
M0. Oh wait, so that was the first Steam key. That's just for the base game, and then the DLC is M0Q93-CFC3. Either uppercase I or lowercase L.
Lowercase L.
Dash
D for dad.
and then two uppercase I's or lowercase
I or
L's.
lowercase L's.
Looks like
wow.
someone male CTY in the chat looks like they got the they
good.
got the Sonic Adventure base game, but let's see if they
Did you
can
get the DLC?
the DLC as well.
You should get the DLC. 3 gigs. 3.3 gigs.
And if you already own Sonic Adventure 2 and you don't have the Battle DLC, this could be a good night for you.
Go into
Next.
other Twitch streams and tell them that we're giving away games live on EGI 2. No one else is talking about it.
No one else is talking about this. No one else is gifting out Sonic Adventure 2 and Battle on twitch.tv/EGI_2. Let's go ahead and knock them out. Let's knock them out. Let's go to the next trailer for our next Steam key giveaway. And thoughts and prayers are to you and everyone else out there in Steam, in the Twitch world, in the Steam world,
Pal World.
the Gilgamesh, Steam World Dig, Steam World Dig 2, Honk. Let's see the trailer.
What is it? Does it say M?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Oh, and you know it's him. It's Handsome Steve, the handsome man from the Handsome Man games. He's always he's got his hands on the pulse. He's handsome. He's crazy, and he's crazy about violence and the explosions and making sure that no one gets out alive.
Handsome Man.
But you and up to three other friends can join hands and sword plus gun, man, woman, small man, large man, and that one are battling it out for supremacy over Handsome Steve's financial empire must crumble under the weight of this underutilized Steam key.
You underutilized it by not activating it.
I own it, but I already own it on several platforms. So I'm giving away this Steam key that I just got because what happened was, Alan, and I think you'll appreciate this. I got the Humble Bundle with Bloodstained and Sprawl. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I already played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night on the Xbox One, but I don't have an Xbox One anymore, so I went ahead and purchased the Steam keys with Ritual of the Night, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
It's a story as old as time.
And I wanted to play Sprawl, which is a first-person shooter, sort of along. If you're a fan of like he's blowing his brains out on live
Christ.
TV. Just don't try it here. Don't. It's crazy to do that. Please don't do that. But please get your pens and pencils out for the Steam key giveaway for Borderlands 2 Game of the Year edition. And
so this is a real game. This is a real game that someone might want, even though it looks like a fake game or a parody of a game.
N7 8CE J5CY8 N3RVL.
Wait, say the last one.
N3RVL.
RVL.
So this is a real game. This is Borderlands 2 Game of the Year, either Game of the Year edition or Complete edition. I don't remember if it received any Game of the Year accolades, but people love these Borderlands games, and I've played some of them, and they pass the time, but unfortunately they don't stir the heartstrings quite like a game like Skyrim or
certainly not
the big man and the little man and the woman and the other one I think if you play them all together with friends, then it's a better time.
Huh? Did anybody get it? Sound off in the chat.
Sound off in the chat if you received Borderlands 2. Okay. Next up, we've got let's play the next trailer. This is really gonna. I think this is really gonna spin your wheels.
Look at that.
If you're like that was this is it's the Switch version of the trailer. It's the Switch trailer.
I think it was a Steam game.
No, it's a Steam game that's confusing because they don't have a. I couldn't find a Steam trailer that didn't have a little watermark on the bottom.
That part.
So this is a parkour. This is a jumping around kind of game. It's a jumping around, but you're also sad. It's one of those games where everyone's sad, so you have to get happy. You have to jump around until you're happy again.
Okay, like a happy jumping game.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it's a happy jumping game. You jump up and down, but it's hard to jump around. So you get
Nathan Vegetable wants the game.
You get the little vegetables.
No, Nathan Vegetable.
Nathan Vegetable.
I have been wanting to own this. I wanted to buy this game for forever. So maybe Nathan.
So maybe if you have kindness in your heart, are mics up properly against the audio? So if you've got kindness in your heart, that's a crazy thing, isn't it? Imagine just being chased by one of those giant heads.
This looks like a hard.
We were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh.
We were?
Or no, we were talking about Yokai Watch.
I don't.
No, we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. But
we were
talking about Yu-Gi-Oh reminds me of Yokai Watch,
which
is of course yokai are the Japanese ghosts of mythology.
Okay.
And whenever I see a giant floating head, that's what I think of, because there's a lot of the characters, a lot of the mythologies of the Shinto Buddhist tradition have large heads.
You're right.
Or sometimes they have long necks, or sometimes they're just sort of irreverent but deadly.
I don't have much commentary to add to any sort of conversation about Yu-Gi-Oh. I just don't really know what that is or how to talk about it.
Well, if you know what Digimon is, right?
I think it means digital monsters, but I don't have much to contribute to that conversation, despite my wanting to talk to you.
So if you have kindness in your heart, you're going to let Nathan Vegetable get the code for this, because he did say, I think he was the first person to say that he's really wanting this game for a while. And this is Celeste, of course, the platformer.
Oh, that's what that
launched 1,000 ships on K3 RX2 3E 00Y 9W CC. Whenever I see CC, I think, what do you think of?
Closed captioning or closed circuit TV, or
you don't think of like Chinese communist?
I don't.
CCM, and that's it. That's the Steam keys that's the Steam key for Celeste. Hopefully, Nathan, we're hoping. Although I do believe that Nathan might be hoovering up these Steam keys.
Hey, Nathan, give it a rest. Don't hoard or hoover the Steam keys. Oh, hey, Nathan got it. Congratulations
Great!
to Nathan.
Congratulations
Let's
to the
play
chat
that.
for Nathan. Let's hear it. Let's get a little bit. Absolutely.
Let's have one of those
fantastic.
long one with the.
It's a good feeling to give a game that people want. I don't think people were quite as excited about Borderlands 2, but we did give that one
Enjoyed
out
that,
as well.
Nathan.
And let's
That's
go.
for you.
Now that Nathan has gotten his just desserts, let's go ahead and take a look at our next giveaway, which is going to really, I think, surprise
Abs,
people because
ABS.
it's one of those games that really slipped past a lot of people
This looks familiar.
because it
Whoa, hey.
looks kind of familiar, but
No, this
does
one-
it?
No. Wait, what is this? What the heck am I seeing?
So it's a running. Obviously, and there's the big heads again. The yokai heads of mythology,
Is this what you're
the
talking
centaur and the smashing
my
and the
God.
horn lady, and the skulls and the tendril and the man, and all of these things come together, of course, at the center of things with the three friends who must go into the castle and find out the story behind
Astalon.
Tears of the Earth.
Oh, that I see the.
So I see Cinnamina.
Oh my God.
Mina Harker.
Cinnamina says, "Oh my God, I gotta have it."
Gotta have it. She's got it. They've got to have it. I said she because I was thinking of Mina Harker, of course, the damned woman, the woman whose life is damned because she gets into a situation with a foreigner in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I don't think I know. Is that one of your weird stories?
No, it's not. It's a classic story. It's a classic tale of love and adventure and death and violence and the supernatural and the creatures of the night coming and biting us on the neck and finding ways into our bedrooms and kissing us lovingly, then all of a sudden taking advantage of us and drawing out the blood and our souls and to the undead that we become when we reemerge from the crypt. All right, so
This one goes out to
this one goes out to
Cinnamina?
Cinnamina.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamina.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamina.
Cinnamina.
Cinnamina. Back to you, Cinnamina.
Get your finger ready to type.
Ready to type down M W
W
R
R.
uppercase I. I think
uppercase
because
I.
the other ones there were uppercase L's, and I realized that none of the Steam keys have lowercase uppercase. It's just uppercase. So MWRIF dash 22J 6M dash 5 Z
Z
NRQ.
NRQ.
And of course NRQ, the
NRQ.
classic yellow, the yellow line.
and the NRQ.
The NRQ. So if you're catching a train from Astoria to Union Square, then guess what? You can get right there with no transfers on the NRQ.
Yes. So sound off in the chat if it worked for you, Cinnamina, or sound off if you stole the key from Cinnamina and got it instead.
Come on, and of course, Cinnamina, if you're excited to learn more about Mina Harker from the Dracula universe, then go ahead and type in Bram Stoker's Dracula into Google.
Hold on.
And then go to one of those pages.
People seem upset. Something has happened.
Someone's been hoovered.
Someone hoovered.
Someone got
I think
Cinnamina.
maybe Nathan's vegetable maybe has
Hoovered
someone
hoovered the key.
Nathan?
No, Nathan, did you
no,
hoover the key?
You're denying it. The
You
doth
sly-
protest too much,
just like-
Nathan. Someone else
Just like
did
the
it.
Dark Lord himself.
I'm so sorry, Cinnamina. This is the problem with giving away Steam keys publicly on air to about 109 people watching right now. No one else is talking about this.
Let's all take a deep breath and take because we do have one last Steam key to give away, and maybe this can go to Miss Mina Harker, who has suffered so much and so badly at the hands of this foreign gentleman with just awful designs on the city of London.
So maybe this will be a game that Cinnamina wants to play.
Peggy 18. Sega.
This one's interesting. Oh. Okay. What do we have? Oh. Cinnamina? Do you want this? Cinnamina, sound off in the chat if this looks fun to you. Wow. Oh, so FPS Nug wants this. Pretty Spruce says I'd like it.
Uh-oh. So we've got a bit of a horse race going on, unfortunately.
Yes, I want it, and someone else wanted it. This does look fun. 4K. Wow. Oh my god. Can I? That does look good, but I think I should abstain because I don't have my Steam. I have a Stream Deck. I don't think I can enter it into that though.
Anyway, Steam key for Bayonetta. This is the 4K. This is a game that you get unlocked frame rates. 4K. Steam key is now.
First come, first serve. Bayonetta.
Okay, there. Wait, there it is. No, that was last week's. Bayonetta is now PQ2CD.
Start over. PQ2
CD. Compact disc. Easy to remember. 5 N E W. New. 5 new C.
5 new C's.
5 new C's.
5 new C's.
Dash. MTR. That was, of course, the famous MTR transit system.
Another train.
From
MTR.
from the beautiful city of Taipei.
I think yeah, I've never been on that one. That sounds fun.
MTR, of course, it's above ground, it's below ground, it's the MTR. Get your. They don't. What's the name of the tap card there? It's not the Oyster. That's London. It's not the Octopus.
And was that the end of it?
That's MTR XN.
XN. So sound off in the chat if you got your free copy gifted from us, EGI2 to you. These are Robbie's games.
And I hope this is, of course, in all sincerity, I hope this is an enjoyable experience.
Now hold on, something's happening in the chat.
Something is happening.
Nathan Vegetable, I think, has given a Steam key directly to Cinnamina. Possibly the game that Cinnamina wanted that didn't work. So thank you, Nathan Vegetable. I'm sorry I said you were hoovering the games. I think you're being very generous. There's lots of Steam keys floating around in the chat right now. I don't know what's what.
Well, I think...
good luck to you.
Good luck. Again, Bayonetta is PQ2C-5NEWC-MTR.
Oh, Nathan Vegetable just said the Steam key that I said. So apologies, Nathan, for saying that you were hoovering games, and apologies for saying you were being generous when you were just repeating words that I was saying, and I was just repeating what Robbie was saying. So it's a long chain of repeating.
This is, of course, your first look at Bayonetta on the Steam version of Bayonetta. Maybe it's also the first version of Bayonetta.
Can we throw that up again? I'd like to see that Bayonetta again. That was quite an interesting trailer. I could watch that all day. Let's just take a look at this. So it's a Sega game.
And Platinum.
P for Platinum. And there's some sort of falling building, angels, some sort of angels. And here's, okay.
We're talking, of course, about the angels.
Now that I like. I like that. Now that I don't like. The gun is cool. That's scary. What is that? Oh, they saved somebody. Who's that? Now that I like. The action is wild. She's shooting with her feet, I think. It's too crazy. Now I saw a big leg. Oh my god. So I do... Did someone in the chat get this? Because, wow. Look at that. Wow. As they say, it's a masterpiece, so it's got to be good. Wow. Her hair is incredible. Her outfit is quite nice. Whoa. What is this? Did you play this, Robbie?
I played all 3 Bayonetta games, and what I haven't played is the Syriza. Is it Syriza? Battle. It's the prequel game, which of course is more of almost like those kind of top-down action games that were based on CRPGs, like Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Champions of Norath, which of course we forgot to mention is set in the EverQuest universe. Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 2. There was a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game that was like that.
JD Ibsen says, Allan, her hair is her outfit. What does that mean, Robbie?
It means that her hair is so long and so fine and soft that it can wrap around her unclothed form and create an impenetrable wall of hairy cloth that can be used to cover up her private parts and her to shield her modesty and keep her virtuous as she battles the devils and demons.
That'd be kind of interesting idea to have hair as like a shirt. I think that'd be kind of interesting to see my hair as a shirt like that. Can you imagine that if my hair was my shirt? I've never seen anything like that.
Let's go to It's the Arts.
Yay! It's the what the?
Whoa, there we go. Oh, sorry. We were supposed to. We have It's the Arts. Just,
What was
do we,
that?
Do we not have an It's the Arts? Just slide.
Robbie, what was that?
That was you.
What was that?
That was.
Was that me?
That was. We're about to see It's the Arts.
I don't understand. Robbie, was that a drawing of me or
That
what?
was a drawing of you and we'll just hit we're hitting it full bore. It's the Arts from EGI 2 Stream 8 starting with Hambone Bousse, and we haven't landed on a
What the heck is that?
Bousse, like a Cajun or I learned recently, Allan, that Cajun and Creole are actually sort of the same thing.
I didn't know that.
Because of some shenanigans with the racists of Louisiana, they
Show the art again. What the heck is?
So
That's
I believe
me.
what we're looking at here is this is EGI 2's. This is a representation of the
What is
EGI
that?
2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews.
Who made this?
That we do once a week. That we will be doing on Wednesday, Allan. If you are available to join us, we'd love to have you. It's a fun time. It's a little less structured. We try a lot of different things out.
Less structured than this.
Fun, and we get the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews out that people are demanding. They demand to see.
Show the art because that was so interesting. Now I see me, and I think I see you. I see your headlamp. There's more.
Right.
And there's like tubes.
So
coming out of
exactly,
each-
I think the idea is that you're milking me, Allan. I'm the milking. I'm the milked, and you are the milky.
There's some sort of a milking machine.
So I'm being milked, and the milk is the knowledge, and the
It's
knowledge
coming-
is,
oh, it's
is
coming from your
spilled out on
brain.
top of you and down
coming-
to the bodies below, which of course could be the EGI2 family that we now.
Oh, those are the
that we
hordes
have.
of people drinking the milk. So I see. Okay, thank you, Hambone.
Hambone Bousse.
Hambone Bousse. This is interesting. The idea is that the milk is the thoughts.
The milk are the 6 to 7 out of 10 reviewed games that we review once a week on EGI2 streams.
They come from Robbie's head. His
They
thoughts.
come from lots of different places. The suffering, I believe, comes from the suffering. We had Battle Engine Aquila. We had Hydrophobia. We had Risen 2, Dark Waters. And those all were games that we explained that received a great deal of thought and open platform to make their case, whether where on the 6 to 7 out of 10 scale they might fall, and that is the platform that we do it.
And but the milk is what you just like the information. The EG. Well,
it's EGI2's 6 to 7 out of 10, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews.
but that's not the only time you're milked. You are milked whenever we do any form of EGI because you give so much. The milk is the information that I drink in my ear. So, but it's coming from your mouth. But it's
Right.
going over my whole head. But I would
See it
imagine
again,
some of it.
because it doesn't look like it might be going into your ear. It's
I
missing
think
your mouth,
It's
which I
missing
think
my
is,
mouth,
which
so
I
I'm
think
not
is
drinking it
interesting.
in a traditional sense. I'm getting it. I'm drenched in the milk. I'm shiny with milk, and I see. Okay, that's quite incredible. So and I love all the people down below. Are those people? They're little creatures taking in the milk. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Hambone Bousset. And next up, we have, of course, a slide from Kimball. Kimball is on It's the Arts. Kimball's, of course, got two different slides here of the same, two slides representing the same situation, which, of course, was some weeks ago. We had a cat here live in the EGI2 studio, and it was during the list. And so sometimes the list was up on the screen while the cat was running around hiding and being ethereal, as cats tend to be.
I want that cat back.
Well, the cat, it's not coming back. It just got in the one time. We plugged the hole, and
I made a new hole, though. Come here, kitty.
Beautiful art from Kimball. Beautiful art from Kimball.
What?
As you can see, it's a what do you call it? Hold on. It's a duet. It's a diptych.
It looks so real that it looks almost exactly like the show.
It looks so real. It's a diptych.
I didn't even realize it wasn't the show. It's a diptych.
It's a diptych, not a triptych. There's only two. If a triptych, and this is something, and just bear with me here, Allan, because it's a situation where there's a triptych represents the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Father, Son, and the Holy
So if you have a
Spirit.
triptych, in a church, part of the latent symbolism of the triptych, of course, is the three ghosts, the 3 points of the Holy Trinity.
There's the Father,
there's
the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
But in a diptych, like we have here,
right? There's just two.
There's just two, and I think that in that situation, the diptych represents you and me.
Robbie and Allan.
Robbie and Allan.
See, this is more milk. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
milk,
learning.
Kimball, we love milk. We are two people. We are growing. We are big boys, but we are growing. We were once babies until the milk came, and then we grew to be big and strong and filled with milk
and hard bones.
So thank you for that, and we have one more. It's the art slide. We only got 3 this week, but that's fine. We do love art.
When we used to do the show, we'd get hundreds and hundreds of drawings, and this week we've only got 2.
So let's see that third slide for It's the Arts. Take it away.
Oh, this is a video.
When the dead queen's the only one who seems to get funny video game news, and you take out your harp and start playing the blues. When the game you're playing doesn't seem to have a single gork, and you're pretty sure the soundtrack was composed.
Oh, they say they can't hear it, so let's restart it if we can.
When mossy lumps can't be found in the...
We're restarting it as
When the dead queen's the only one who seems to get funny video game news, and you take out your harp and start playing the blues. When the game you're playing doesn't seem to have a single gork, and you're pretty sure the soundtrack was composed by Bjork. When mossy lumps can't be found in the chat, and your friend keeps trying to feed citrus to your cat. When you're ready to take down Mutant Academy with shock and awe, but Sabretooth kills you in 2 seconds with his dusty claw. Well, they say Gotham Knights was 2022's wettest game, but its lack of Spawn and Shadowhawk is a real crying shame. When the news that Disney bought Marvel turns out to be on the level, you think to yourself, we'd be better off if it'd been the devil. When you finally get around to buying Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and it goes on sale just a few hours later. When even old friend Joe Botnick refuses to call, and there's only physical copies left of Mech City Brawl. You can either go to the church of your choice, or you can go to Twitch TV. You find God at the church of your choice. You find EGI_2 at Twitch TV.
And that was wonderful from EDI2 Watcher, of course, friend of the show, friend of the family, and of course, a wonderful tribute to everything that we have been trying to do on this show. represented it a kind of free-form, almost like a slam poem, Alan.
That was incredible. I couldn't, just to clarify to the viewers, I couldn't hear it. The way our system is set up, I could only see it, but I could tell that what was said was beautiful based on the reaction in the chat. I'll watch it later with sound, put on sort of noise-canceling headphones before bed and watch that and see what all the fuss is about, because it was beautiful to look at, but I can't imagine how it sounded.
But what's important to me is that Larry Bird made it in there.
Larry Bird.
And of course, I believe EGI2 Watcher is from the New England area. So a Boston Celtics fan will find any Boston sports fans are a different cut above, even if they're not from Boston. Even if they're from the general vicinity, where if you want to watch a professional sports league of any sort, good chance that you're making your way north, south, east, or west to the great city of Boston. It's a classic city. To watch the game on any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's the list.
Yay!
It's the list. The EGI2 Stream 8's list tonight is, of course, games with nightclub scenarios. So
Yay,
that's, of course, a
the
game
list.
where you can.
Yay,
It
the
could be any
list.
kind of
Oh,
game
boy.
that happens where you, or it could be a normal shooting game. It could be adventure, action adventure, RPG. Doesn't matter. If you step into a nightclub as part of the to advance the storyline, to enjoy a beautiful crowd, enjoy all the wonderful people dancing, and of course, nightclubs are places where people congregate to express their love through the art of dance, through the absorption of sound, and of course heat from the other bodies around them. Nightclubs are a classic place for a game to take place, and that's why tonight's list is going to be games that take place in nightclubs. It's the list.
It's the list. Yay!
And I did see. So I just wanted to address something here. I did see something about EGI2 Watcher word that we didn't talk enough about. The beautiful the beautiful video poem that they sent in, that we did see it, we loved it.
Couldn't hear it.
We will appreciate any type of art that comes into the It's the Arts, whether it be poems written or developed or
Slam.
paintings or drawings
Just
or
slam.
just kind-hearted messages.
Or simply just slam.
We just be slammed with art. Whenever you can find a way to slam us, we will take it.
Thank you for slamming thank you for your slam poetry. I sadly couldn't hear it, and I'm excited to hear it.
Leisure Suit Larry. Is Leisure Suit Larry on the list? I don't think it is, because I don't think that it's a part of Leisure Suit Larry where you walk into a nightclub and are forced to express yourself with the list with on the list.
Games that take place the entire game is in a nightclub.
Exclusively in
Just the
nightclubs.
entire
Games
game.
that have nightclub level. Of course, thinking of Cyberpunk 2077 is on the list, because if Cyberpunk 27 is any indication, then huge City 17 or City City of Night City.
Half-Life.
Night City is a city with nightclubs galore, but you only really
Cities with
go
so this
into a
game's
couple
with
of them,
nightclubs. Games with
and
nightclubs.
it's a game with nightclubs. And Mass Effect 2 is on the list. From Brett66, love to see people joining in on the list, getting it right. These are the games that are on the list. Mass Effect 2 is on the list.
Grand Theft
GTA
Auto.
Vice
Grand
City
Theft Auto
is
Vice
on
City.
the list.
All the Grand Theft Autos.
And what is the name of that club in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Alan?
Vice Club.
Vice Club, City Club. It could be something dirty. Usually there's some sort of innuendo. Omicron, the Nomad Soul is on the list from Mossy Lump. Mossy Lump in the chat as deigned that Omicron, starring none other than David Bowie, is on the list.
Wow.
Psychonauts is on the list. Let's go to the caller. You're on the air with EDI2 Stream 8. It's the list. I'm touching my ear as if you're talking in my ear, but I can hear you in the room. Is it fun to see this? Is it fun to do this, Alan?
Yes, I touch my ear quite a bit.
Let's touch the ears. Caller, what's on the list?
So I know the list is upset that Leisure Suit Larry is missing, but there is a Larry game that is on the list that has a nightclub scenario. Maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but there's a recent game that came out called Let's Find Larry. That should be on the list. There's a nightclub scenario.
Let's Find Larry. Express what happens here in Let's Find Larry.
You find a guy named Larry. Eventually, you get to a nightclub.
That sounds right.
So it's on the list. Let's Find Larry. Let's Find Larry is on the list. It's a tentative on the list until we can back that up with some hard data. But of course, we do trust people who call in from the list on EDI2 Stream 8 for the list.
Robbie, what about one of those Dance Revolution games? Those look like they're in dance
clubs.
clubs.
Those are not on the list, Alan, because those are not games that take place in nightclubs. They take place in the kind of spirit world where everybody's hyped.
But they're dancing. I feel like I see like disco floor.
But you don't ever see the entrance door. You never see the bouncers. There's always a creepy bouncer with a nightclub, isn't there, Alan? He's always a big guy. He's tall. He's got dark circles under his eyes. He's got big beatdown hands, so he can pound and smash you into the ground.
Ring.
Robbie, you're ringing
me. This new Spider-Man 2 video game. There's a scene where Miles Morales he's like a DJ at a club in a sort of a Mysterio vision that he has, and you have to. It's kind of a rhythm game, but you're doing DJ stuff in a club.
But you're in the club, you can see the bodies dancing around.
You're in a club, but it's not real because it's a vision from Mysterio. So I don't know if that counts.
I'm going to put that one to the chat and see what if they think that's on the list. Joe Botnick asks, do multiplayer maps count? And I'm going to say that multiplayer maps do count. So if you got a game with the Herbs and Sims in the City is on the list. Of course, Max Payne is on the list. Max Payne 3 is on the list. Ring. Parson. That was the word I was trying to think of.
Yakuza 0.
She was Samantha, of course, was thinking about the Calvinists in Paris, and so she would have said Reverend Preacher Parson. Parson was the other one.
Okay, did you
so
get that?
Parson's not on the list. Time Splitters 2 is on the list. Turok 2, FPS Nuggets seems to be extremely overcome with wanting us to talk about Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. But unfortunately, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil is not on the list. Ring Dead to Rights is on the list. Dead to Rights is on the list. We have a caller on EGI2 Stream 8. Caller, you're on the list. Duke Nukem Forever. I know the first Duke Nukem 3D is on the list. Is Duke Nukem Forever on the list? Who are you? Where are you calling from? What's on the list?
Hey, back to you, Robbie. This is Vague Plague from Houston.
Vague Plague from Houston. It's a party town. It's filled with nightclubs, Alan. And I've known at least 3 bouncers from Houston, and that's a true story.
Oh wow.
Checking to see if Animal Crossing New Leaf is on the list.
If Animal Crossing New Leaf is on the list.
Is there a club in that?
Do they dance outside? If there's a club, can a club be outside, Big Play?
So you actually go to a comedy club to learn emotions from a salamander. So I think he kind of operates the comedy club as a nightclub too.
And you do go in there, and there are people dancing, and they're having a good time, and they're expressing their love through the art of dance and the sweat on their bodies and the music in the air.
Absolutely.
Then it's on the list. Animal Crossing New Leaf is on the list. Not expecting to put Animal Crossing
No, I
New
didn't
Leaf
think it would be on
the
you,
list.
and you should
There
feel
it
very
is.
proud to get something on the list. That's not easy.
Big Plague, are you ready to go 2 for 2 on what's on the list?
Yes. Let's see. Did we already say Disco Elysium in the chat?
Did we say Disco Elysium was on the list? Disco Elysium is on the list. But
You
if
did
that's
it.
coming from the chat, I want to hear it from the words that come from the inside of behind the teeth, out down the out the throat, back through the teeth, out the mouth, into the air.
Don't help her. Don't help her.
Yeah, I know it was up for debate there because it was kind of a church being converted into a nightclub. But, once you get the party going in there, it's got the lights. I do think it counts. I do think it's on the list.
That's church. My question to you is that does it count, Alan, if the church is being used as a church on the non-nightclub when it's not a nightclub?
It's an interesting question.
Are people sneaking? Big Plague, you're probably the Disco Elysium expert in this room, being from the party town of Houston. What do people? Does the church still operate as a regular church, and do people just sneak in there when it's not church hours and just go crazy and have a big old party without letting the parson know?
That's a good question. It's kind of a desecrated church situation. I'm not sure there's a lot of worship. There is like a crab Spider-Man who inhabits it in the daytime when the ravers are not in it. So not exactly sure how much worship is happening. That's a good question the game does not really address. Just kind of shows us a meth lab and a dance floor.
Alan, what do you think? Is it on the list?
I think so.
Okay, Disco Elysium is on the list. Big Plague, you want to go 3 for 3 while we still have you on the line?
Yes. Back to you, Robbie. Third game, I'm going to go with Psychonauts.
Psychonauts is on the list. It's amazing that 3 for 3. You are double or nothing, or not double or nothing. But let's do just
triple hitter.
Quadruple quadrocopter. Breaking news. It's we're going for 4 for 4 with Vague Plague from Houston. It's on the list.
I am blinking.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna cash out. I'm gonna cash out.
Everyone, channel all of your favorite nightclub memories from video games into Vague Plague, but don't say a damn thing out loud or in the chat. This is Vague Plague's platform. We're hearing it straight from the pulpit of Plague Pulpit. That kind of reminds me of another story, Alan.
Well, we don't have a hype train.
Well, we don't have a hype train going, but we do have this is the nightclub list. Vague Plague, are you willing to take a shot?
I do not know any more nightclub games off the top of my head right now, but I would like to hear about the bouncers in Houston and why.
The bouncer. Sad stories all around. In that they all. This is something. Thank you for your call, but this is something I'll say to you, Alan. Is that all the bouncers that I've known who have moved to Texas have all had very, very, very bad back problems.
What's that about?
I think it's from throwing people on the ground and generally just kind of like mucking them up and making the bad people that try to get into clubs when they shouldn't be getting into clubs, trying to make their lives hell by just knocking them on the sidewalk and kicking them and punching them and throwing them into walls and cars and all those kinds of things.
Sort of violent fighting.
So violent fighting is bad for your body. We all know that from watching, of course, the downfall of the classic spar man himself, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, of course, gone from us too soon, but still with us in our hearts, just beating people mercilessly on television.
There's a lot of games for the list that going off in the chat that I feel like you're missing.
Devil May Cry 3 is I know the first Devil May Cry, or not the first DMC Devil May Cry is on the list, but is Devil May Cry 3 on the list? Ring Ring Paradise is surely a nightclub. It is on the list. Animal Jam has a dance club area. Animal Jam, are you familiar with Animal
No,
Jam?
what's
Is
Animal
Vague Plague
Jam?
still on the phone?
I think
Vague Plague, what are your thoughts on
There's
Animal
something
Jam?
wrong with the list again.
I am still here, Robbie. Yeah, I will toss it back to the chat now. I'll let you go, but glad to speak with you.
Glad for checking in from the great. It's a huge state, Allan. It takes 3 days to drive across it.
Power up.
And thank you for your call, Vague Plague caller. You're on the list.
Maybe we'll parappa the rapper.
Stream 8. It's the list. This is turning out to be a much larger list than I realized, Allan. I thought this was going to be a short list, but a lot of these games do have nightclub levels, and it crosses.
Low Vibe says
Nug
Ratchet
wants
and
to know
Clank.
more about Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. It's
Hold
not on the list.
Low Vibe says Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has a cool nightclub, and that's true.
Rift Apart has a cool nightclub scene. Caller, what do you think of that?
Big list. I don't think there's a nightclub in Turok 2. This is Gio from Texas. Is Fallout New Vegas on the list?
Fallout New Vegas is on the list. It's on the list. Fallout New Vegas is, of course, classic. Whenever you have some sort of post-apocalyptic situation, Fallout, otherwise, you probably have some sort of freak show situation where people are freak shows coming together. Because this is what happens at the end of the world: is that people I don't want to use the H word, Allan, but people are wild for each other at the end of the world.
That's so true. And
so it's natural that they would take over large buildings and small buildings or secret places or places that are. They'll just do it anywhere, Allan.
Visk says Final Fantasy VII Honeybee Inn. The Honeybee Inn from Final Fantasy VII.
Fantasy VII Honeybee Inn is on the list, and that counts for Final Fantasy VII, the Final Fantasy VII remake. That's at. We will be exploring the of course larger open world of what's the open world? What's the Final Fantasy VII open world called?
Midgard.
Is it Midgard?
I think so.
Caller, you're on the list.
I think Midgard is like the whole Earth. I don't know if there's a specific.
That's what I thought.
I think it's Midgard.
So okay. Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII remake interlude it's on the list. Caller, who are you? Where are you calling from? What's on the list?
Gio from Texas, not Houston. I said.
Oh, Midgar is the city. Fruity Fruit says Midgar is the city. So Midgar is of course the city where you start. Oh, so we don't know what the world of Final Fantasy VII is called. The larger open space.
I said Dead to Rights. I said New Vegas. I think Retro
Dead to Rights. New Vegas
on
also on the list. What was the thing you just said, Gio?
Retro City Rampage.
Retro City Rampage is on the list, and let's go ahead and put another one of those top-down retro style shoot 'em up, kill everybody. No remorse for the lives of innocents games. Hotline Miami is on the list. Hotline Miami 2, I believe, is also on the list. Caller?
I have not finished Hotline Miami, but I'm sure there's a nightclub.
Well, it's a party town. It's a party game, and you can play it. You can play it, and you can do sorts of speed runs and things like that. Party people love speed runs.
Oh, Party Hard.
Which one?
Party Hard and Party Hard 2.
Party Hard and Party Hard 2 are on the list. Although I have not been able to get to wrap my hands around Party Hard. I believe that people that love to party will party hard with Party Hard and Party Hard 2. Gio, what's the good news from where in Texas? Arston? Dallas.
Not Houston, not Austin.
Right. So. And what are people saying in Dallas about the Dallas-Fort Worth area about nightclub levels in video games?
Not too much about nightclubs. They did have some funny video game news. They did have some. They loved Allan, but nothing so far about nightclubs. They must have some delay in the stream.
Well, the people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area demand more nightclubs in video games. They might, if they were to take to the streets and demand. They might be, rather than looking through the great library of the genre of gaming itself, they might lose sight of the fact that there is a Doom 1, the first Doom for the PlayStation 1. There is a nightclub level with renovants, just renovants, for the PlayStation 1 version of Doom. What do you think about that, Gio? How's that?
that is reminding me that I think Lego Star Wars has some nightclub levels in it somehow.
Does Lego Star Wars, is it one of the, is it, because we must, okay, so this is where I have a bit of a, maybe we reached an inflection point here with this, because we don't want to say that nightclubs and bars are the same thing.
There's many cantinas in all of these Star Wars games.
So it's not a cantina. It's the Lego Star Wars games have some Easter eggs where if you solve the puzzle, it's bonus content. When you solve the puzzle and go in the side room and pull the right levers, the room will turn into a dance floor and the stormtroopers will start dancing around. And I think it's space. I think it counts as a night party. I don't know if it is an intentionally purposed club, because this spaceship, there's not necessarily a bar, but it's night dancing of a sort.
So what you're saying, what I want to know, and this is Alan, I would like to hear your thoughts on this as well.
It's like an underground club. It's like a
do pop-up club.
secret.
This sounds like one of those pop-ups.
It's a pop-up, yeah.
I didn't know they had pop-ups in the Star Wars universe.
Well, I was saying, would a pop-up Star Wars pop-up nightclub count? Because this is the same issue that we were having with Disco Elysium, where we weren't able to really. We made an educated guess, but when it came down to it, we didn't know if a church that is a church in normal times, if you can, it's a pop-up nightclub. What I'm saying is something that clearly it's not always a nightclub.
It's a repurposed space that is being used temporarily in a nightclub context.
Benny Bugs and Needles says Sam and Max Night of the Raving Dead has a nightclub. It's on the list. Gio, thank you for your call.
So much. We don't know.
We got a couple. While you're on, let's hit a couple more points. We got Hitman, World of Assassination, and
Zero.
Yakuza
That sounds
both of those games
like that would be on the list.
WarioWare Gold is that on the list? See, that's another tough one. Cinnamina, and I do want to give Cinnamina a win because I don't think that they got the Bayonetta or the other one that they were striving for all these years. So let's go ahead and put it on the list. WarioWare Gold goes on the list because
a lot of erotic games, I suspect, have nightclubs. Alan, you're the erotic game expert. I think so.
Because the mini games are levels, after all, in a way.
Well, there's a whole disco in WarioWare.
Well, that's what I was. There is a whole disco. Well, you're right, because the blue Afro man with the red, I think he's a red nose. He's not Wario. He's one of Wario's friends.
One of his kooky friends
and he
who does all those crazy things.
And he filled it. Club Joe. Club Joe is on the list. WarioWare Gold is on the list. And we have
I don't see the list. Oh, there it is.
Chat. What do you think of this? This coming in. Thank you for your call, Gio. Let's go to the next caller on the list. Caller, this is a question that I've been having, pouring over this in my head, out here on the list with myself, alone, with my thoughts.
I'm here with you, Robbie. I'm here with you always.
Nightclubs, nightclub levels.
Hello?
Hello.
Does it matter? Does it matter? Does it make it to the list if you are the bartender? If you're the idea of the nightclub level that I've been having is that you're some sort of character. You're outside. You wander into the
caller
nightclub.
Wants to know if they're on the air.
People are going nuts on each other. They're grinding and
I don't have my stick.
And giving the business. And
caller, you're on the air.
Caller, you're on the air. But let me get through this first.
Let the caller.
Because I have a question for the caller to get to this thought, which is that if you're already in the club, does it count as a nightclub level if you're just working in the club the whole time?
Me? Are you talking to me?
Yes. We're talking to you.
Oh.
You're on the air. You've been on the air for a very long time, and we can hear you. I can hear you.
Me?
You. We can hear you.
Who are you? Where are you calling from? What do you think of what I was saying?
Oh, hi. I'm Bridget from California, and I actually think I don't know how I feel about that. I do have the game for the list, though, I think.
Okay.
Is Little Misfortune on the list?
Little Misfortune is it on the list? What's the scoop with Little Misfortune?
Well, there's a scene where she's in a cave and there's a hamster nightclub and they're doing drugs in the club.
Sounds like it's on the list.
It's on the list.
Little Misfortune is on the list.
Yay!
Absolutely.
You did it. Good job. Thank you.
So sorry. I didn't know if I was on the phone or someone else was on the phone.
But it's on the list. Caller, you're on. You're. But we're getting away from the question here because we have two games here that are on the list that could be on the list. Might not be on. I've got them written down here. They might be on the list. They might not be. But these are games where you play the bartender in the nightclub, and one game is actually a nightclub simulator.
Sounds like that would definitely be on the list.
What do you think, caller? Because what I in my head, it's people wandering. It's like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is on the list because you wander. You're in the open world. You wander into a club and people are dancing. They're doing it on each other and they're having a great time. And you wander in. You kind of fiddle around. Legend of Legaia is on the list. But if it's just a game that takes place all the time in the nightclub, then it's not really just like a nightclub level. That's the game.
I still feel like it's on the list.
I think so.
All right. Well, in that case, Violet Vibe Nightclub Simulator is on the list, and so is VA-11 Hala. So that's that.
EGI Watcher 2 says Starfield.
Cyberpunk Bartender is on the list.
What about Starfield, Robbie?
Starfield is definitely on the list, but I who's got time for Starfield? I mean, God Almighty, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
Katana Zero is on the list. Caller, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on which game?
Yes.
Katana
let's
Zero.
Close and let's we're hitting the 3 hour mark, so let's close out the list with this caller. Caller, take as long as you need to express yourself. Don't hold back anything.
You're the last caller?
You're the last caller of the evening. We need you to go absolutely to just open the rib cage and let all of the guts fall out in front of us onto the floor.
Yummy.
And we're going to look at the ribs. We're not going to look at the ribs. The ribs those are your ribs. But the gore at the floor, the gore on the floor is ours. Go.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay, were we talking about Katana Zero?
Yes.
Okay, so I actually just bought that game a couple weeks ago. I haven't actually played it. It was on sale. I did hear it was cool. No pressure right now. I'm ripping up the ribs. I'm in the ribs. Blood and guts everywhere. Boy.
What's
love
in the,
that.
yeah? What do we see? When you there's so much of the stuff that's on the inside, not just the blood, but the scrim that holds all the organs together inside the rib cage. And of course, there's a lot of water in people, isn't there, Allan?
The body is made of water.
The body is 70% water. So you can imagine that you're looking down at all the stuff that fell out of the trunk of your body, and you're seeing your own reflection. What do you see in your eyes?
Well, what do I see in my eyes?
Your own eyes. Well, your eyes are still in your head.
Oh, okay, so I can't see my eyes.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it.
But still alive. Unbelievable that you could live through such a thing.
Probably, I see lots of blood, lots of water. Maybe yucky bones. Maybe my bones aren't looking so good. Maybe they look kind of unhealthy. And maybe gross, thick, broken knee muscles.
And what are they? And when you now you're shifting gears a little bit here. You're one of those sorcerers that looks through like the people that look through a bunch of bones in the bowl.
Oh, that's great. I want to do that. That's me right now. I feel that. I see. Am I supposed to say something spooky? What do those sorcerers see when they look at bones?
They see the future. Usually they're kind of soothsaying. They're kind of looking at usually maybe there's a king or some sort of a warlord in the room with them. They're looking for something about what the future might hold for them in a battle or a conquest that's coming up.
I guess I see dark, stormy clouds and the Demon King. He's gonna get you, so you better get your bottom dollar and get your pip in your step and stop being a goof and get ready to fight the Demon King because it's going to be crazy.
Get ready to fight the Demon King. Allan, thank you for your call. We're getting a lot of pressure from the chat to take one last caller of the evening. We're looking for Cody from Florida. Cody, is that you? Cody from Florida. Cody, is that you?
Yeah, hi, Allan. Hi, Robbie.
What are your thoughts?
I got a game. Empire of Sin. Empire of Sin was made by
John Romero.
Romero Studios.
Is it on the list?
It's a mobster, and you get to run a bunch of speakeasies in mobster times.
Speakeasies are bars. Cody from Florida.
And then also, I got one more if you don't like that. How about Blade 2?
Blade 2 is a movie.
Blade 2, the game. You get to fight the vampire club. Okay, I'll take my call off the air.
All right, thank you for your call, Cody from Florida. That's EGI2's Stream 8. Allan, do you have any final thoughts for the evening? It's been a long night. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of cries, a lot of spilled guts on the floor, reflecting our eyeballs back at us.
It is always an honor to be present with you. I share my honor with you, my light with you. I worship you and I cherish you.
I hear you, Allan, and I share my milk with you, and you share your milk with me, and we go to the dreamland together, where we pass the time on the white ship. It's not white because of any kind of weird racial thing. It's just the ship happens to be made of a white
maybe because it's
mineral,
milk.
and it's
Maybe
also
it's
dark there. So the white especially is illuminated by all of the phosphorescence and various things in the sky.
Well, that.
Oh, the milk is white.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Maybe
what
it's a
you're
milky ship, and it's painted white to represent the milk, and we don't need to bring up any weird Robbie ideas into this. And let's just thank you. Let's just thank Robbie, and I do appreciate you for involving me in this project. This is such an incredible, long-running project. It's such an interesting and strange project that has taken me many, many years to just even wrap my head around, and I think I'm starting to fully understand it. And I feel like, you know, when someone sits quietly for many, many years and they don't talk to anyone, they close their eyes and they just don't think about anything, and then all of a sudden they open their eyes and they feel like, wow, I get it. That's how I feel with EGI2. So I'm just happy to be here with you, and thank you.
And just for what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna just say one last thing, and then we're gonna cut the feed. But it's this, which is that all the blood and the mist, the blood in Samantha's body became the mist, and then it evaporated.
Robbie, don't. Wait. Oh my God. Yay! The hype train has returned. Robbie.
All right, so
5 or 4 more minutes to tell the rest of that story.
So the rest of the story is,
do a quick
of
recap.
course, we left Samantha with her head poking out to the dirty boys, the gargoyle boys, who are, of course, they were doing the same thing the angels were doing. They were taking them down into the crypt beneath the church. Allan.
I remember.
So what we're looking for is what the hell's happening in the bottom of the church.
Right.
So Samantha, first she gets a hey, she's trying to communicate with these bad boys, but they're absolutely awful. They're too crazy.
She's dead.
And she's dead, and they know it, and they saw it happen. They heard it happen. They heard the body flap against the wall and explode, and all the guts. Some of the guts went out the window. We were talking to earlier.
95%.
The caller earlier was saying something about their guts opening up the rib cage. Imagine doing that for yourself, but imagine that it, in fact, was the stone statue angels did it for you, and the gargoyles saw it and they laughed at you when you poked your head out of the church off the church roof. So. But Samantha, the ghost of Samantha is of course extremely interested to see what happened because what happened to her.
Robbie, the hype train is complete. You did another level of the hype train. The story will continue for another 5 or 4 more minutes.
4 minutes and 40
seconds to finish the story.
So 40. Samantha's 40. No, Samantha's 20. Somewhere between 18 and 27, I think we said. So she was somewhere in there when she died. She's not there anymore because she is the ghost, Samantha. So but she says to the gargoyles, she says, listen, fellas, I think that you guys are up to no good. I know you guys are up to no good because the priest downstairs, Father Danger, told me about you. But I'm just so damn pissed off because I got obliterated before it's sort of like I didn't even get to have a story. So now I've got to take whatever time I have left here on Earth, and I assume that because I'm unable to leave the church.
She's stuck in the church.
She's stuck in the church. Her ethereal form and her absolutely destroyed mortal form are stuck in the church until they can get to the bottom of this mystery. So she says to the gargoyles, fellas, what's happening in the basement? Take me down there. I want to see for myself what you've been doing with these people. You've been dragging them out of bed and you've been putting them in the basement, the crypt of the church. So let's go down there and look.
One of the gargoyles, vested interest in this.
One of the gargoyles he's a French fella, and he takes his cigarette out and he goes, okay, I tell you. He says, I tell you what I do. I tell you what I do because I do that anyway.
It's okay to do a French accent. I think that's one of the ones you can do.
And they were one of the worst ones when it came down to the whole colonial.
It's still okay to be mean about French people and say bad things about them.
Okay, so I take you down there, and they go downstairs, and he says, and of course everyone's dead.
Right.
They're all ghosts, and there's a whole town of ghosts down there. And what we do is we take you down here, we smother them in the cold, in the dark, in the stone, and we take the bodies and we eat the bodies, and that's it. And then we put parts of the bodies. I want to say they put parts of the bodies in these little pipes, and they send it up into the regular part of the church where the angels live.
Like an old mailroom, kind of
like an old, exactly. So before vacuum tube kind of situation.
Mailroom situation.
But the sucking and the blowing is being done by just the spirit, just the general spirit of the holy, just the kind of like the mystery of the Almighty and all that. So the blood goes. They're like, we also do the dirty work for the angels.
Wow,
we do the dirty work for the
2 minute
angels.
warning. 2 minute warning. 2 minutes to finish the story unless the hype train continues. We're at 43%. Back to Robbie.
So they get so they do the dirty work. So we do the dirty work for them. They do the good stuff. They bring people to church, but to keep that whole system going, where they get to fly out, they come alive at night and they fly out and they bring people to church and pray, and that works in the favor of their boss. We actually have to do the dirty work of bringing people in, crushing their bodies, drinking and pouring their blood into these tubes that then go up into the feeding area where the stone angels live.
Interesting.
So Samantha, not knowing what to think, goes back up to talk to Father Danger, and Father Danger is scandalized. So he goes
1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute and 10 seconds.
He goes to the angels and he says,
what does he say? We're running out of time. What does he say?
He says, you guys are messing the whole situation up. I've been working my beans off trying to get people to come into church everything's out of whack. The English are having the salon. Everybody's doing salons. Everyone's talking about how God's not real. They're talking about the fourth dimension. People know about Mars now as a planet.
Okay.
So
30 seconds. 35 seconds.
And here you are killing people.
You're not going to get it.
Bringing them into church at a time when it is not even proper for them. They should be at home asleep. We do the prayers before bed. What do you say on the prayer at bedtime? You say
20.
You say. What is the bedtime prayer, Allan?
No, Mother, forgive me for I have sinned. 10 seconds.
So anyway,
10 seconds
what
to do
happened
this.
Was that so they
8,
fight
7,
the gargoyles
6,
and
you're not
the
gonna
angels
get it.
fight each
5,
other. They all die.
4, 3. You're not going to get it.
Samantha is sent into.
Don't say anymore. Damn it.
Wasn't it great? Well, the end is here, and we got to the. I do think that we got to the end.
And I want to thank the EGI viewers. Hold on. I just want to thank everyone for trying to keep that hype train going, but I also want to tell you that this isn't a good use of your money. You shouldn't be spending your money like this, and we shouldn't be trying to trick you. We shouldn't be kind of gamifying stories, because stories are important things to pass down and we deserve. That's the milk that we drink from our ear, and it's wrong. It is wrong, and shame on us for monetizing that. But thank you for your effort.
And also, it's just important to say that the moral of the story is this: if you find yourself dead in ghost form, and you see that there's a situation where you can get the people that killed you and the people that that support the people that killed you, being angels and gargoyles, to fight each other and kill each other, you can then release the force field around the church, float up into heaven as a spirit. But also, the blood she was so atomized that all of her blood also evaporated into the sky, and then the next day it rained blood on the city of Paris.